You think camping is all about starlit skies and peaceful nights? Then, this video will break your bubble completely. Tonight, we're diving into 6 unsettling encounters that turned outdoor adventures into waking nightmares. From unexplainable sounds in the dark to shadowy figures lurking just out of reach, these stories will make you question what's really out there. And trust me, the final encounter is so chilling that it's been haunting the internet ever since. So be ready for it and don't miss the bonus in the end. What happened to Carl from Welcome to the Woods UK is unbelievable. If you have ever thought solo camping was a great idea, this might make you think twice. It all started on July 6, 2024. Carl, the brave YouTuber, had determined that it was time to check his trail cameras. He'd mounted them deep in a forest to get some raw images of the wild. You know, like he always does. But this wasn't going to be one of those trips where he just sits around the campfire talking about the soothing sounds of nature. So Carl sets out one stormy morning to inspect his cameras. He's tramping through the forest, probably appreciating the fresh, earthy scent, when he sees something that makes his stomach drop. A boot print.
Bizarre tracks today. This boot print doesn't match my boot print. It does look fairly old, but it is very strange and it's quite big. So it's definitely a man or someone that wears a very, very big shoe. I'll just spin you around to show you it. Look at that. That's massive. My BK2 next to it. It's just slightly larger than my BK2. Oh, I want to trip myself out. That looks like a toe as well.
And not just any boot print, it's big. Way too big. And certainly not his. Now, Carl isn't a woodsman or anything, but even he knows this isn't normal. Someone or something has been wandering around his cameras. Instead of freaking out, Carl does what any dedicated YouTuber would do. He decides to reposition one of his cameras, hoping to catch whoever left those prints. Maybe it's just another camper, right? Or a poacher? Either way, Carl's curiosity outweighs his unease, at least for now.
I think the best bet is to get my live camera, the one that I can pick up on the phone, which I put in a few weeks ago at a different location in the woodland. I'm going to go there now, retrieve that camera and program it onto one of these trees and get a reception, make sure it's working good on the phone, and then I can keep an eye on this area, even at home in my bed.
By the time night falls, Carl has found a nice little spot in which to camp. He pitches his tent, grabs a simple meal in his belly, and tries to relax. Of course, the forest has other plans. As he is recording his nightly sign-off to his viewers, he offhandedly mentions hearing someone or something out there. And just as he's about to call it a night, this happens.
But I'm absolutely shattered, so I'm going to get my head down. I shall see you in the morning. I don't know if you'll be able to hear, but there's definitely someone out there. Fuck's sakes. 2 seconds. Hello? I'll be honest with you, I feel like going.
He hears a loud, blood-curdling scream. It sounds like it is ripped straight out of a horror movie. Carl takes his flashlight and steps out of his tent, heart pounding, shining the beam into the dark trees. But there's nothing, just the endless black of the forest and the echo of that scream bouncing around in his head. Now, Carl is an experienced hiker, but even he knows when to cut his losses. He packs up his gear in record time, gets out of that forest, and heads home. But here's the kicker. this wasn't the end of the story. When Carl returns home, he sits down to sift through the footage on his trail camera. Maybe, just maybe, it caught something that would explain the weirdness.
Early Thursday morning at 4:12 AM, this figure comes into view. Almost looks like it's trying to pull something down from a branch above, acting in a peculiar manner. Then the camera takes a further 2 still shots of it moving further off to the left-hand side of the woodland. So why is this person there at that time of the morning? Why do we keep hearing these shrills and shrieks? Is it paranormal? I just don't understand.
A big, lumpy, unusual creature is pushing its way through trees. Big and slow, deliberate movements suggest it just doesn't care about having been seen. It moves out of sight, periodically going into branches and trying to flatten them down, push them aside, or brush something beneath a mat of vegetation. Carl simply watches while this continues to move into frame, out of view off-screen. Was it the source of that scream? Could it have been following him? Or was it just passing through, uninterested in the lone camper? Carl doesn't have the answers, and honestly, neither do we. This quiet, secluded wood area of Connorsville, Indiana, was taken on a still, dark night. At around 3:27 a.m., a trail camera sat silently there and did its job by taking photos of whatever warm-blooded creature with movement had crossed its path. So what did it snap? Well, some people claim that this is the best photo of Bigfoot ever. The video was submitted by a guy named Josh Banker to the group Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization RMSO, which has for years been chasing Bigfoot sightings. Josh wasn't looking to spark an online frenzy, he just wanted to check his cameras. But what he found left him second-guessing every late-night venture into the woods. Here's what he said. "I went to check the trail cameras this morning, and I think I caught a freaking Sasquatch." Josh's camera quickly snaps short bursts of photos when motion and heat hit the frame. This time it caught something big. 4 shots to be exact. Now let me tell you about the second photo. It's the one that really gets people talking. You get this close-up shot of this long, 2-legged creature halfway through its stride, and its arms are spread open as if it is either balancing itself or just moves with that weird gait Sasquatch is infamous for. And when it comes to the build, oh man, it screams Bigfoot. Wide shoulders, thick legs, arms almost too long, and this head, which is far more round than pointed, all covered in dense, shaggy fur. Okay, so the trail camera isn't capturing in 4K, but even so, the details are undeniable. Josh wasn't done there. To give everyone some context, he also took daytime photos of the area where the creature was seen. It's a classic forested setting, thick trees, soft dirt, and all the makings of a Sasquatch hideout. Turns out this wasn't the first sign of Bigfoot in that spot. After that, enter Jeff Adams, an RMSO researcher. He didn't just hear about the creature, he found the tracks. Big ones, in the same area. Talking footprints 6 inches wide with toes so defined, it looks like they're carved out. Jeff didn't stop at the tracks. His family and he actually say they saw the thing, not too far away from where the prints were cast. Their description? Tall, dark, hairy, humanoid figure. You know, pretty much the Bigfoot checklist. And honestly, when you pair it with Josh's photos and footprints, it kind of starts painting a pretty convincing picture. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this just another one of those blurry blobs people argue about for years? Nope. This one's different. Sure, skeptics will say it could be a bear or a hoax, but Josh's neighbors back up his story. They've been hearing eerie screeches at night, sounds that definitely don't come from deer or coyotes. So here's the big question. Is there a Sasquatch roaming southeast Indiana? If you're a believer, this might be the smoking gun you've been waiting for. And even if you're a skeptic, admit it, this one's hard to ignore. Josh said it best himself. He's not stepping foot in those woods without his 4x4. Whether it's a Sasquatch or something else, it's clear that Connorsville has some strange, unexplainable activity going on. So what do you think? Are Bigfoots real? And if they are, Could they be chilling out in Indiana of all places? Seems like we're getting closer to an answer. Still on Bigfoots. Next, let me tell you a fascinating tale that has everyone talking, from believers to skeptics. It's about a piece of footage from way back in the late 1970s, something that's only now been brought into the public eye on November 19, 2024. It's deep in the heart of Honey Island, Louisiana. A wildlife researcher named Harlan Ford was out doing what he loved most, exploring the marshes, probably looking for something mundane, like birds or alligators. Now remember, the 70s weren't exactly the golden age of technology. Cameras were clunky, rare, and far from the high-definition gear we've got today. But Harlan had an 8mm camera with him that day, which was kind of a big deal back then. While paddling through the swamp, soaking in the eerie stillness, he spotted something. And it wasn't just another heron or raccoon. Nope. About 100 yards away, moving between the trees, there it was. A tall, dark, Bigfoot-like creature. At first, it's not really clear, but then the footage Harlan captured gives us a decent look. Zoom in and you'll see it's covered in thick black fur. It's bipedal, meaning it walks on two legs with an ape-like gait. But that's where it gets wild. That is, according to experts who have studied this footage and estimate that the creature would be approximately 8 feet tall and weigh as much as 500 pounds. Now let me tell you, no ape in the world grows up to be 8 feet tall, and there are no apes or monkeys running around the Louisiana swamps to begin with. So what in the heck was this thing? Fast forward to decades later. Harlan's granddaughter, Dana Holyfield, stumbles upon this vintage footage. She probably wasn't aware of what sort of Pandora's box she was opening when she unleashed it on the world. She gets it out there, and the internet freaks. And it's not even YouTubers or conspiracy theorists spouting about it. Serious researchers are paying attention.
I got older and grew up, that my grandmother would come out with this big box, all this wildlife photography. And that's when we saw this 8mm film. He actually probably got closer than what any of us really.
The History State Channel points out something very interesting. Accounts of this creature aren't new. While Harlan's footage is from the 70s, people in the area were talking about a similar beast as far back as the 1960s. And even before that, local indigenous folklore speaks of a terrifying entity lurking in the swamp. Legend has it that this beast could flip over boats and drag its prey beneath the murky waters to, well, eat them. And then there is field researcher Cliff Berman, who has his own theory about it. He says that swamps and marshes, particularly ones as huge as this 70,000-acre stretch, are almost tailor-made hiding spots for a creature like Bigfoot. Most of the area is protected by the government, meaning it's largely untouched and undisturbed by humans. Berman believes Harlan's sighting could be one of two things: an actual Bigfoot or someone in a costume trying to mess with people. But here's the thing. It was the 1970s. Social media didn't exist, and there wasn't really any incentive to fake something like this just for clout. So why would anyone go through all that trouble? Skeptics may say it's just a big bear, but it has been dismissed even to professional wildlife scientists. Its movement is so smooth, almost like a human, dismissing the possibility of it having been a black bear, since bears, no matter the size and power, exhibit a clumsier walk in two legs. This other thing walks as if it knows where it is heading. It will get to one of the most debatable questions in cryptozoology. Could this be that smoking gun? Well, to believers of Bigfoot, this is the nearest it gets to not debatable evidence. For starters, the creature in the footage is seen, for example, showing significant size, behavior, and even the context within which it was seen that is almost the most significant in proving such existence. But here's the thing. Whether you believe in Bigfoot or not, you have to give up that this footage stirs your imagination. Does it really exist as one of the undiscovered species, which has been so long evading human minds for centuries? Or maybe it is just a guy wearing a suit, ready to pull off the world's greatest prank? What's your opinion? Tyson Peer is the kind of guy you'd love to follow on YouTube if you're into wild camping, survival hacks, and bushcraft. This Canadian adventurer has built a name for himself by tackling nature head-on, sharing every gritty detail of his escapades with his audience. He's braved freezing winters, torrential storms, and every curveball the wild can throw. But on June 4th, 2022, Tyson encountered something that shook even his seasoned nerves. A day that started out as an innocent summer project turned into a survival story none of them would forget. Initially, the day was warm and bright, perfect for the task Tyson had planned. He was working on a bushcraft shelter project deep in the forest near his home. This time, however, he was not alone. His little brother and a friend, Miguel, joined him. He and his brother had wanted to spend the day beating their heads against the project, bonding and sharing laughs. By noon, the three of them had been searching the woods for rocks to make a chimney for the shelter. It was a lighthearted mood, with birds singing in the forest, and it seemed nothing could go wrong. After hours of sweaty work, they sat back. Tyson, always the detail-oriented documentarian, swapped out the batteries in his GoPro and checked his phone, likely preparing for more shots. Imagine you're hiking through a dense, quiet forest, and suddenly you hear it, a loud, shrill scream that's disturbing. And you realize you weren't alone. What would you do? Tonight, we're going to tell you the 6 most chilling stories of real-life encounters that will make your blood run cold. But before we start, I should give you a disclaimer that the final story is extremely haunting. It might have you questioning your safety in places you once thought were peaceful. So buckle up, because this is a journey into the unsettling, starting with one TikToker Goo's haunting experience that he was not ready for. This TikToker man was working on his job site which was on the edge of a thick, remote forest. He's minding his own business when he hears it. Loud screaming. It's not just a yell, but an eerie, gut-wrenching scream coming from deep inside the woods.
Oh, looks shady enough.
The kind of sound that makes your hair stand on end. At first, he figures it might be an animal, but something about it feels off. So he decided to go and check out what was happening there. This forest wasn't supposed to have anyone in it. In fact, it was set to be completely cleared out in 2 days. The area was dense, isolated, and practically inaccessible to most people. So after stepping into the forest, when he notices a bright blue tent tucked among the trees, his stomach drops. Who could possibly be out there? The tent looked out of place, too neat, too deliberate. And then there were the screams. Constant, desperate, as if someone or something was clearly in distress. The man's curiosity and concern got the better of him, and against his better judgment, he decided to check it out. As he walked closer, the forest seemed to grow quieter, as if holding its breath. When he finally reached the tent, a middle-aged man stepped out. He was about 48 years old, clean-cut, well-dressed, not the kind of person you'd expect to see living in a tiny tent in the middle of nowhere.
What's up, bro? You good? You good, bro? Hey, no, don't get up, man. You ain't gotta get up. You ain't gotta get up. You ain't gotta get up.
What's the problem?
Nothing, man. I'm just working right here. I was coming to take a piss, bro.
We're neighbors, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're good,
Okay,
bro.
I gotta treat you like my neighbor.
Yeah, you're good, bro. I just was coming to
My
take a
name's
piss.
Eugene Odell.
Adam, man. Adam Kale. Nice to
Okay,
meet you.
good.
Can't shake hands?
Yeah, I love to shake hands
Okay.
with people I know.
Well, I just introduced myself, bro.
Yeah.
You're good, bro. You can chill out here, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Bible tells us to really care about the word of the Lord.
Yeah.
And I can't judge you,
Yeah,
right?
please don't. I wouldn't dare judge you, hell.
No, you don't have to ask me, please. That's a statement with me. I don't judge people.
Right.
You see?
At first, the guy was polite, even friendly. But the conversation took a strange turn. The man's behavior shifted, growing tense and agitated. The TikToker guy felt something was off. Who was this guy, and why was he out here alone? The whole situation raised every red flag.
Because I thought I was raised to try to be a productive worker.
Yeah.
All right, so I see you got this. You
What
walking around.
Yeah. I was just making sure.
No, I was raised. No, you didn't hear me.
Bro, I gotta go back to bro, but check this out. Look,
worker.
you're yelling at me, bro, and I gotta go back to work. I ain't been
Yeah,
nothing but nice.
Go back to
Okay,
work.
cuz you can get your ass whooped. That's what it is, though. Bro, you can, bro. came out here being nice, bro.
I didn't want you to come out here.
Well, bro, I'm sorry. Bro, I didn't know this was your house. I didn't see your mailbox.
Believe you are who you are.
Okay, bro, believe what you.
After an awkward and heated exchange, the TikToker guy decided it was best to leave. He walked away, but those screams, they didn't stop. If anything, they seemed to echo louder as he left. 2 days later, curiosity got the better of him again. Maybe it was the screams that poked him a lot. So he went back to the same spot again to see if the man and those screams were still there. And what he found, it was straight out of a nightmare.
Nice little setup. Hello. Wait, am I tripping? Bro, that is not good. What is that? Yeah. It's pretty creepy. Hello. Oh, hell no. Yeah. I need to get this fuck out of here. I need to get. Oh, oh shit. Ah.
The blue tent was still there, but this time the vibe was completely different. That man was not there. Rather, scattered near the tent were torn sandals, like someone had been there recently but never left. And then he noticed some strange markings on the tent itself, symbols drawn in what looked like circles, pentagrams, and other ritualistic designs. It was like something out of a horror movie. Nearby, there was an axe casually leaned against a tree, as if it was just used a while ago. But it wasn't just any axe. It was stained with blood. Heart pounding, the man peeked inside the tent, and that's when things went from creepy to horrifying. Inside was a blood-soaked mattress, a bucket smeared with stains, and piles of clothes all splattered with what he could only assume was blood. There was even a long-handled hammer, also bloodied. The realization hit him like a ton of bricks. This wasn't just some weirdo camping out in the woods. This was something much darker. The screams, the blood, the symbols, it all pointed to the terrifying possibility that the man in the tent had been involved in some kind of ritual, or worse. Too scared to stick around, the TikToker guy ran out of the forest as fast as he could. To this day, he can't shake the memory of what he saw, or the chilling screams that started it all. What do you think was going on there? What would you have done in his shoes? In this video, the host of the Hoggett Project planned on camping out at this new spot in the mountains.
Back out here in the mountains, and I'm thinking of going up to the top there, having a look. If that doesn't work, back in here looks like it's flattening out. Made it to the top. It's a nice creek that comes through here, and you can have a look-see all the way down the pipeline.
It was supposed to be a chill, peaceful night under the stars, but things didn't exactly go as planned.
A little level spot here to pitch a tent, and there's some trees to hang a tarp, and we're just gonna kind of explore the area, see what else is around here. It would appear that the very first spot found, ironically, turns out to be the best one.
At first, he found a pretty nice spot to set up his tent. It was tucked away in the trees, super quiet, and the soil was perfect. But as he's setting up, he spots a footprint in the dirt. Not a huge deal, just an animal, maybe a deer or something. But still, it made him a little uneasy. But he brushes it off, gets his tent all set up, and starts unpacking.
There we go. And as you can see, I'm still working on getting this tarp up. Trees are kind of in an odd formation. I'm also realizing this is not just a square tarp, but should be able to figure out something. This is what I came up with. As you can see, it's sloping with the hill. It's getting pretty dark, so I got this set up just in time. Now let's get everything else going. Not so sure the incense worked, scare off the bugs, but it does smell nice. This could be where I just hang out. Oh, this ground is soft. That might pose a problem.
As it gets darker, he decides to start a bonfire. But once it got dark, that's when things took a creepy turn.
I kind of like how it's open out that way too. Lets a little bit of light into these woods. That way, cannot see a thing. And I don't think I was recording earlier, but something made a heavy sound over there. Could have just been some old rotted logs settling. But up that way, a couple miles, there is a camp, but I don't think anybody's hiking this way back down. Anywho, I've heard that the red lamp keeps the bugs away.
The guy started hearing strange noises, branches snapping and these heavy thuds all around him. At first he thought it was just animals or maybe the wind, but the sounds kept getting louder and more frequent. It started to feel like something or someone was out there watching him. And then he starts hearing more weird sounds. At first it's just some random branches cracking in the distance, but it keeps happening. It's like whatever is out there is getting closer, moving around him. And honestly, this is a frightening feeling.
Definitely something over there.
Documenting my experience and why I'm leaving. It's basically, it was all set up, it was getting dark, I had just gathered all the firewood. I had run back to the vehicle to grab my Carhartt jacket. Right about that time, as I sit down, I hear some noise. And I thought that my keys have hit the chair a certain way. And as I'm thinking about it, I'm about to go about my business, then I hear behind me where the creek is, about only 50 feet, I hear a couple more loud crunches. And that's when I stand up and I just shine the forest. Of course the noise has stopped, and I'm guessing whoever it was, it found a good spot to lay low. I didn't see any eyes glowing back, didn't see any movement, other than I did see a bat. But definitely that is not what made the loud noises. In all this, I probably shined the light on the forest for a good 3 to 4 solid minutes. Nothing. And I said, okay, and I'm thinking I'll go back to just doing what I'm doing. But this is the second occurrence Probably about a half an hour before that, I heard it up the hill. This time it's down parallel with me. I scouted the woods when it was daytime, just so I can get a good idea of what's around me. It's not really easy terrain to maneuver in. And anywho, I sat there for a minute and I was just thinking, okay, do I go ahead with the fire? And I was like, you know, I'm not scared right now, but I'm also thinking maybe I'm too close to the stream. That's going to attract animals coming to get a drink. All that said, I decided to pack up camp. I was like, well, I don't know if I'll have fun now. I'm the only one out here, and it was really dark back in these woods. Getting all packed up, and once I get out to the road, I just take a quick look up towards where the creek is, and this is where it gets terrifying. And I thought I had pressed record, but it was not recording. But anywho, I've got my low...
So he grabs his torch and starts walking toward the noise, trying to figure out what's going on. Now, most of us would probably stay put, maybe even run back to the car, but this guy is gutsy. So he heads off, following the sound deeper into the trees. At first, it's just more darkness and more trees, nothing unusual. But then, he gets this feeling that something's not quite right, like there's something really out there, hiding in the shadows, watching him. Now here's where it gets really creepy. He thought he saw something over by the creek, so he shined his high-beam torch over there to get a better look. And there it was, standing on the side of the road. It was like a statue, frozen in place, blending in with the surroundings. But as he looked closer, he realized it wasn't a statue. It looked like a person, dressed in camouflage, standing perfectly still, trying to stay hidden. He could just make out the figure. It was about 6 feet tall, and the way it was standing made it seem like it was trying to blend into the environment. Now, I don't know about you, but that would definitely freak me out. He shines his light on it for about 20 seconds, just trying to make sense of what he's seeing. But no matter how hard he looked, it didn't move. The guy starts to feel this wave of fear hit him. This is no ordinary camping experience. What the heck is that thing? He starts thinking about calling out to it, maybe asking what's going on, but he just can't bring himself to do it. He was so frozen in fear that he only hoped whatever it's didn't notice him. So being panicked, he decides he's going to get out of there. More shockingly, just the moment he looks back at the figure one last time, it's gone. Now that's when the real panic sets in. It wasn't a statue at all. What if it wasn't even a person just standing still? It was something else entirely. He thought about calling it a night, packing up and getting out of there. At this point, it's pretty obvious that whatever was out there wasn't just some random person. It had some bad vibes to it, something dark and sinister. The man decided the safest option was to leave. He quickly packed everything up, grabbed his gear, and took off. Would you stick around if you were in his place? Or would you be out of there as fast as possible? Either way, camping in the woods is definitely not as peaceful as it seems. This is Chris, the guy behind the YouTube channel Omega. For over 10 years, Chris has been hooking viewers with his gutsy adventures, exploring some of the creepiest, most haunted places imaginable. But this is one of his most unnerving experiences, something that shook even this fearless explorer to his core. It all went down on May 7th, 2019. It started like any other day. Chris packed his gear, called his loyal dog Max, and set off to the Owl Mountains in Poland. His mission? Spend the night inside the Nazis' longest abandoned train tunnel.
Seemed like forever since I've done one of these. According to the GPS, we're coming very close to Spooner's Tunnel now. I think it's just down at the bottom of this hill here. I'm actually quite anxious about doing this overnight challenge. You know, it's a dark, creepy, really long tunnel, and you know, I don't know what kind of people are going to be up here. So yeah, the nerves are just starting to kick in now, especially being alone. Okay, here we are here. The only person I have with me is Max. You know, man's best friend and everything. Oh man, look at that. There's a vehicle over there that's burnt out too. Oh man, look at it. Hope it's not a popular spot for people to...
This wasn't just any old tunnel. It was part of a secret military project from World War II. The Nazis had planned to build a massive underground base there, but construction was never finished. Thousands of forced laborers died digging those tunnels, and even today, the place carries the weight of its grim history. Historians and adventurers are drawn to it, but let's be real, it's not the kind of spot you'd pick for a relaxing night out. Chris isn't new to creepy adventures. He's been to his fair share of haunted houses and eerie ruins, but something about this place felt different.
The nerves are really starting to kick in now. What? I want to be spending a night in this thing. Oh no. I don't know about this, guys. What the frick? Oh no.
As he hiked toward the tunnel's entrance, the uneasiness began to creep in. You know that gut feeling, the one that whispers, maybe this isn't such a great idea. But Chris pressed on. After all, this is what he does.
I think the thing that I'm mostly worried about is people coming up here. I mean, you don't know what kind of people come up here. I don't see any visible signs of like tagging or anything on the outside piece of the tunnel. But you just don't know. You don't know what kind of people are gonna come up and hang out in this tunnel, you know, in the night. And it is a Friday night here. So yeah, there could be anyone coming up.
When he got to the entrance, the vibe went from unsettling to downright chilling. Sitting nearby was an old burnout vehicle, its charred remains adding to the already eerie atmosphere. Max, his dog, seemed restless, pacing around like he could sense something wasn't quite right. Still, Chris pushed forward, determined to document the experience. The tunnel swallowed him up, its walls damp and cold. The silence in there wasn't just quiet, it was thick. Chris paused to take it all in, shining his flashlight into the abyss.
We're getting to the stage where I'm getting extremely tired, but we're gonna keep pushing, and we'll do a walk through the tunnel soon. It's like the eerie silence is just getting to me at this point, and I'm hearing things left, right and center, trust me. Maybe we can wander down a bit of the way to see what we may find.
Turning off the light, he demonstrated just how pitch black it was. No moonlight, no faint glow from the outside, just pure, suffocating darkness. Things started getting weird pretty quickly.
Creepy, actually. There's like nothing. It's like dead silence. Max. Sorry, I got to turn the light back on. There he is. I'll say it's really strange without the lights on. It's weird, man. Like, you're underground in the middle of nowhere. It's strange. You don't know what you're gonna find down here. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, if you look down there, like, that's how far we are away from the entrance that we came in. Like, it's pretty far.
An unsettling feeling washes over him as the darkness surrounds him. He can't see a thing, making the exploration even creepier. Little did he know, this was nothing compared to what he was about to experience. As the night wore on, Chris's camera battery died, so he decided to head back to his campsite, hoping for a few hours of rest.
My main camera has died, the battery's absolutely shot, and I've also managed to bust the microphone on my main camera too, which I'm using on this camera. It'll be about 3-4 in the morning. I feel extremely tired, and I don't feel like I'm on this planet right now. I honestly keep hearing things, it's ridiculous, I don't know.
He lies.
As he ventured deeper, the air grew heavy, and strange noises began echoing through the tunnel. Chris paused, listening. The sounds weren't natural. Definitely not something you'd expect in a deserted tunnel. A distant tapping, maybe footsteps? He couldn't pin it down, but every hair on his body was standing on end. Hours ticked by, and Chris kept exploring, even as the tension mounted. His camera battery died unexpectedly. Then his microphone broke. Coincidences? Maybe, or maybe not. By the time 3 or 4 a.m. rolled around, exhaustion was hitting hard. Chris set up a spot to rest, but he just couldn't sleep in such a terrible place. The silence felt oppressive, and the sense of being watched was impossible to shake. And that's when it happened. From deep within the tunnel came a noise, a faint beeping.
Tripod. I hear some sort of tune. Max, come here. Come here. Oh, shit. Max, Who's that, Max? What the actual? Can you guys hear that? Oh, Max.
Chris froze. Beeping sound in an abandoned tunnel in the dead of night just didn't make sense. Max wasn't helping either. The usually brave dog was on edge, his ears pinned back, growling softly. Meanwhile, the noise grew louder and closer. Chris's heart was pounding now. He shouted into the darkness to get some response, but only his voice came echoing back at him. And then he saw it.
I don't know if you guys can hear this on the camera, but there's something. What is that? What the? Hello? What is that? Max, what is that? Hello? Is there somebody here? That's just creepy as... What the hell? Is anyone here? What is that? Oh! Max! Hurry up! Max! Max! Oh!
A man just standing there, not moving, not saying a word. Chris's flashlight illuminated the figure, motionless, eerily calm. Chris completely froze in fear. Once again, he called out, trying to sound braver than he felt. But the man didn't respond, didn't flinch, just stood there. Chris tried to see his face, but couldn't. It gives me a feeling, was it even a human or something else? But Chris knew it was his cue to leave this place as soon as possible. He grabbed Max and ran for his life. He didn't stop until he was outside, gasping for air. Even then, he didn't feel safe.
Inside the tunnel now. And I don't have any intention of going back in there. That was just strange beyond belief. Chill, I got the chill personality. I usually not a whole lot affects me, but that was just getting a little bit too much, honestly.
But seriously, who was the man? Had he been following Chris the whole time? Was he dangerous? Or does the man live inside the tunnel? Also, is it ever possible to live inside such a tunnel? What do you think? Chris never went back to that tunnel to find the answers, because some places are better left alone. Angelo, the brave YouTuber from Exploring with Angelo, is known for his spine-tingling adventures in haunted forests and creepy abandoned places. He's faced ghosts, strange noises, and mysterious occurrences on countless occasions. But on August 5th, 2023, he had an experience that he'll never forget, and one that took a terrifying turn in ways he wasn't prepared for. It all started as a calm evening, with the sun hanging low in the sky on a warm summer night. Angelo, ever the thrill seeker, decided to venture into a forest known for its weird, spooky happenings. It wasn't his first time there, but it was the first time he dared to go in alone after dark. Most people wouldn't even think about it, but Angelo wasn't most people.
But I heard something. Okay. Probably just a squirrel. Or trash.
This particular forest was famous for its ghostly legends, and the last time Angelo had visited, he'd actually made contact with the spirits said to haunt the place. But this time, he was about to come across something far worse than any ghost or haunting he'd encountered before. As Angelo walked deeper into the forest, and the woods quickly became darker and eerier. Every little rustle in the bushes or crack of a twig felt like it was amplified in the silence of the forest. He brushed off the strange noises, convincing himself they were just the usual sounds of animals moving around. Little did he know, something or someone was hiding just beyond his sight. At first, his exploration seemed like it was going to be just another quiet night. But then, off in the distance, he spotted something strange. A small wooden structure. It looked like a makeshift teepee, and Angelo's curiosity got the best of him. As he walked closer, he noticed a figure sitting silently inside. Angelo assumed the person would just ignore him and go about their business. But as he got closer, the figure jumped up and bolted into the forest, disappearing into the trees. Feeling confused but intrigued, Angelo approached the shelter, only to find something left behind near it. And this is where things really took a dark turn.
Well, I don't know where he went, where they went, I don't know. What in the hell?
Suddenly, a deep, guttural growl echoed from the direction the stranger had just fled. Angelo's heart started racing as the growl seemed to suggest that the man had been watching him the whole time. But Angelo wasn't the type to back down, and he decided to follow the sound to figure out who this mysterious figure was. He wasn't prepared for what he found next. There once again was the man, standing still and staring at him from a distance.
Oh, geez, he's right there.
The figure made no move, but Angelo felt a chilling sense of unease wash over him. Without thinking, he rushed in the opposite direction, his mind racing with questions. Was this person dangerous? Was he even in his right mind? Angelo didn't know, but he wasn't about to find out.
So, I had to go in total darkness. I grabbed my night vision camera. This guy is coming back. I can literally see him from here. What the hell?
You've seen Bigfoot sightings before. Blurry shapes, shaky cameras, nothing convincing. But these clips are different. You'll see details that you can't unsee. One filmed miles from anyone, moving at 56 kilometers per hour. Another, a park ranger charged in the woods. 7 encounters, each stranger and more disturbing than the last. By the end, you might not believe in Bigfoot, but you'll wish that you never saw these. Number 7, Sierra Nevada Snow Dash. High in the snow-covered Sierra Nevada mountains, a man named Bill was filming his dogs playing along a remote trail at Coyote Ridge. And that's when something unusual slipped into frame. At first glance, it was nothing more than movement among the trees, but later when Bill reviewed the footage, he noticed this. A dark, upright figure was gliding rapidly across the distant forest, its stride unnervingly smooth, its shape unfamiliar. Being curious, he gave the footage to the Rocky Mountains Sasquatch Organization, or RMSO, and it turns out the figure was over 2 kilometers away and moving at nearly 56 kilometers per hour. When enlarged, the details become stranger. A domed head, long arms, and no sign of clothing, only fur. The creature didn't just pass through, it paused, crouched in dense cover, and even worse, it seemed to watch Bill and his dogs. To believers, this was the latest in a long chain of sightings in the Sierras, a known Bigfoot hotspot. But to skeptics, it was nothing more than a trick of distance and shadow. However, the intriguing part is, to some who have walked these mountains, the possibility of it being a Bigfoot feels all too real. For example, Arthur, who was a former ranger at Sequoia National Park, still can't speak of his own encounter without shaking. In 1997, while checking strange noises in a remote sector, Arthur heard a deep growl. A massive reddish-brown figure with broad shoulders, human-like hands stared at him. And then it charged. He dove into his Jeep as glass shattered. But the thing didn't stop. It chased on all fours, keeping up far longer than any animal should. Somehow Arthur made it to the station, only to be called a liar and fired. For nearly 30 years, he's sworn it wasn't a bear. Its eyes calculated every move. Bill's new video ripped those memories wide open. Does it mean that in the Sierras, something's always watching and it doesn't want to be found? Number 6, Mississippi swamp sighting. This next one started with a strange video from the deep swamps near Vicksburg, Mississippi. In early 2024, a hunter said he was out looking for hogs when something mysterious caught his eye. About 40 yards away, a tall, dark figure was moving through the waterlogged brush. It walked upright, its shoulders wide, its arms long and swaying as it moved. For a moment, it stopped, almost as if it was looking around, and then slipped silently into the thicker trees. The hunter managed to capture it on camera, and it looked like this. When the footage was shared online and enhanced, the internet quickly split into two sides. Some people said it was just a trick of the light or maybe a man wearing camouflage, but others pointed to the creature's strange proportions and the smooth, animal-like way that it moved. Most importantly, they swore that it didn't look human at all. Not long after, another image began making the rounds, this time from the woods, where a small herd of deer was feeding. In the background of the photo, almost hidden in the blur, stood a strange figure. It was smaller than the swamp creature, with a build and posture that made some people think it could be a young Bigfoot. They began calling it Baby Bigfoot, but there was something skeptical about the photo. In a time when almost anyone has a phone that can take crystal clear pictures, this one looked grainy and unclear. Stephanie Wood, a well-known Bigfoot spotter, admitted that she was doubtful at first. She said, "It looks like a kid in a costume, but the more that I looked at it, the less certain I was." But what do you think? Was it really a Bigfoot or something else? What are we looking at here? Number 5. Massive Idaho Bigfoot on video. The footage begins in silence, just the shaky camera trained on the edge of an Idaho forest, and amidst the tree trunks and shadows, a mysterious figure moves. It's broad, towering, almost unreal. Is it the closest thing we've had to prove of Bigfoot in years? Because considering its shape and size, it's hard to explain it as a man in a costume. You can make out the thick build, the heavy musculature shifting under dark fur, the proportions that seem too vast for any human. The walk is oddly familiar to those who know the infamous Patty footage from the Patterson Gremlin film. It's not just size, it's presence. But skeptics are calling it a hoax. They point out how easy it is to fake something in the age of high-quality suits and digital editing. But the detail is hard to ignore. Muscle definition, the sheer mass, the fluidity of movement. These aren't things that you can easily buy online. The doubt that it might be a real Bigfoot further refueled when this man from Idaho said this: "I live in Idaho. I'm an outdoorsman and a hunter. I've been in areas of remote northern Idaho hunting elk and deer, and I swear, I've had the feeling of being watched on several occasions while I was separated from my hunting partners. I hunt in areas that are generally accessible only on foot. High elevation, very steep terrain, heavily wooded and usually dark. Old growth timber. I've always believed these critters exist, and I'm a bit excited that some live in the open, untouched areas of my state." Whether it's truth or trickery, the footage leaves one unshakable thought. If this was a hoax, it was the kind that didn't just fool your eyes, it unsettles your certainty. These guys already said what they think about it. What are your thoughts on this? Number 4. Duhan photograph. It was there for only one picture, and then gone, like it had never been there at all. On the morning of June 29th, 2013, at exactly 8:02 a.m., a motion-activated trail camera took a strange photo. You could see the crows in the front had set off the camera, but in the far background, right next to a wooden hunting blind, something stood. It was tall, dark, and upright. A minute before and a minute after, the same camera took other pictures, but in those, the spot was empty. This wasn't a shadow or a trick of the light. Whatever it was alive and it had moved. The figure's shape made it clear. It could only be a very tall human or something else entirely, something that matched the way that people described Bigfoot for years. It had wide shoulders, stood straight, and in zoomed-in images, you could see shapes that might be chest muscles or even bare patches of skin on its face. The hunting blind beside it gave it a perfect size reference. That's where the real work started, figuring out just how tall it was. The first method used a man named Bobo, who is 6 foot 4 inches tall in boots. He stood in the exact same spot as the figure for a test photo. By comparing the number of pixels in the picture, the figure came out to be about 6 foot 10 inches tall. A second method used the height of the blind's window. This gave a result of 6 foot 8 inches, and when checked against Bobo's picture, it was only half an inch off of his real height, meaning that the method worked. The last method also used the window, measuring how far up the opening the figure's head reached. That came out to 6 foot 6.5 inches. All three ways gave almost the exact same number, around 6 feet 8 inches tall. This is taller than most people, but it matches the size of many Bigfoot that reports describe. Besides, it was private land and not a hunting season. The summer heat made it unlikely that someone would be wearing heavy dark clothes or a camouflage suit, so it's less likely to be a prank in this instance. Many believe the Duhan photograph may be more than just an odd camera shot. Does it mean that it could be one of the best pictures ever taken of a Sasquatch? I'll leave the decision up to you. Number 3. The Brown footage. What you are going to watch is often considered one of the best Bigfoot footages out of Florida. In May of 2012, father and son Stacy Brown Sr. and Jr. captured one of the most discussed pieces of alleged Bigfoot evidence near Torreira State Park, Florida. The Browns were basically camping, playing loud music, and taking dark walks when knocks drew them deeper into the woods. That's when Stacy Sr. saw the figure take a single long step and vanish. Using an FLIR Scout thermal imager, Stacy Sr. recorded a large bipedal heat signature moving across a clearing before disappearing behind trees. But they had no explanation for what they saw or recorded. Later, after some years, Bigfoot researcher Cliff Barrickman had. The measurements confirmed the distance from camera to the alleged Bigfoot, about 120 feet, matching Stacy's original estimate. The figure appeared to hide behind a tree, peering out before stepping away. Its proportions, low-set head, long arms, massive shoulders, fit many eyewitness reports of Bigfoot. Shoulder width analysis using tree measurements suggested an average of about 4 feet across, which is unusually wide even for a human in padded gear. The left arm appeared to reach near knee level despite being bent forward, indicating extreme limb length. The gait with a trailing leg swinging at an 89-degree angle closely resembled that of the Patterson-Grimlin film subject. Size comparisons were done by filming a 5'9" person in the same location. The subject in the original footage was significantly larger. Even when compared to Bobo from Finding Bigfoot, 6'4" when walking bent-kneed, the figure appeared much bigger. Step length estimates ranged from 56 inches, 4'8", to 81 inches, 6'9", both longer than a typical human stride. The creature's urgency to leave the clearing may have extended its step further. Height calculations varied wildly due to measurement challenges, but most fell between 7.5 and 8.5 feet. So comparisons with recreations strongly suggested that the figure was far taller than either Stacy or Bobo. Analysis of the footage also showed the subject shifting its weight, maintaining contact with the tree as it stepped away, and disappearing quickly into cover. The profile view indicated a massive frame, far bulkier than the average person, even accounting for possible costume padding. The long arms, unusual posture, and compliant gait further aligned with reported Bigfoot traits. Cliff Barrickman concluded that the figure was simply immense, estimating around 8.5 feet tall with a 4-foot shoulder width. The posture, movement, and physical dimensions all matched patterns from other alleged Bigfoot sightings. The Browns have also revisited the site over 10 times, taking measurements and providing data for further analysis. And to everyone's shock, their continued research, along with detailed site recreations, has consistently pointed toward the subject being far beyond human size and proportion. So now, it's up to what you believe. Number 2. Gibbons Creek Sasquatch near Homestead Cabin. This family thought that they were alone until the forest proved them wrong. It started with a theft. A family fixing up their old cabin into a mill left a tripe on the back deck. By morning, they were gone. Louis, helping with the project research, swore whatever it was 9 feet tall, broad as a doorway, and fast. Days later, while cutting footage for a Sasquatch report, something caught their eye. In the trees near the homestead, a massive upright shape. At first, it looked like shadow play. Then they slowed it to half speed and zoomed 200%. The figure's outline was solid, towering, and familiar. Years ago, in Indian Canyon, Utah, they'd seen one just like it. They pushed further, 250% zoom, quarter speed. Every frame made it harder to dismiss, yet no one had seen it in person that day. They walked the ground, checked the cabin, all while something huge might have been watching. The tripe theft, the location, the footage, it all lined up too neatly. No one said Bigfoot outright, but the thought was impossible to shake. Was it really Bigfoot or something else? Number 1. 2011 Bradenburg thermal footage. Something huge was watching them in the dead of night, yet no one even knew it was there until the next morning. In April 2011, a Bigfoot research team went for an adventure in the Yemas Mountains of New Mexico. This area had a long history of strange sightings, so hopes were high. But as the days passed, nothing happened. There were no strange calls in the night, no movement in the trees, no signs that a Sasquatch might be nearby. For investigator Kirk Bradenberg, the trip felt slow and uneventful. Still, he decided to stay alert. One quiet night, he brought out his FLIR HS-324 thermal imager to scan the edges of the camp. His plan was simple: keep an eye on the outlying tents in case something visited in the dark. And that's when he noticed something strange. Through the thermal imager, he saw a shape glowing faintly with heat. At first, he thought it was just a tree stump or some other object, because the figure didn't move, but something about it caught his attention. He zoomed in to record a second clip. Then, curious, he moved about 20 feet closer and took a third video from a slightly different angle. The figure still stayed completely still. After that, Kirk put the moment out of his mind and went to sleep. But the next morning, everything changed. Kirk told the others about the odd shape that he had seen, and they decided to review the footage on a larger laptop screen. This time, it was clear. The shape looked like a large, upright figure. It had broad shoulders and a human-like outline. They went back to the spot where Kirk had stood and aimed the thermal imager toward where the figure had been. But by then, it was gone. There was no stump, no rock, just empty forest. Kirk, experienced in this kind of work, began taking careful measurements. He marked exactly where he'd stood for each clip and worked out where the figure had been standing. Using a man named Bobo as a size reference, they compared the footage. It turns out the figure in Kirk's video was bigger than Bobo, both in height and build. From the measurements, they estimated the figure's height to be between 7 and 7.5 feet. Kirk's own calculation came out to 7 foot 1 inch, almost the exact same result. So whatever Kirk saw that night wasn't a camper or a trick of the camera. It was something more mysterious and sinister. But what?
If every Bigfoot sighting were 100% fake, the story would have died decades ago. But it hasn't, which means there's definitely something mysterious and unexplored. For example, as some hikers went halfway into an abandoned Oregon mine, their drone signal vanished. When the hikers finally recovered the feed, what showed up inside that tunnel wasn't rock or debris, it was a movement of something giant. And this might be the closest proof we've ever had that it's real and it's watching. From military encounters to mountain climbers footage, every clip in this video points to one terrifying pattern. Deep in the wild forests of Oregon, Bryce Johnson's team ventured into a forgotten mine. The cave, made of cinnabar rock, was said to be dangerous, but curiosity got the better of them. They sent a drone inside, equipped with cameras and sensors. It flew through the dark tunnels until, suddenly, everything went black. The drone lost all signal, as if something didn't want them to see what was inside. When they finally reconnected from the other side of the ridge, the footage revealed something odd: green plants growing hundreds of feet underground. That was impossible. The team pushed further, but the drone lost contact again. As they packed up, they found hair samples near the cave, reddish-brown strands clinging to the rocks. Later, a 24-hour camera near the site captured a tall, humanoid figure moving between the trees. It wasn't a bear, and it moved too smoothly for any known animal. For the team, this wasn't proof, but it was enough to make them believe something unknown was out there, watching. It was a calm morning near Carson River when Kenneth walked through his campsite. Everything felt still, almost too still. And then a strange feeling hit him. Something was watching. He looked toward the ridge, pulled out his phone, and began recording. At first, the video looked normal, but as he zoomed in, something huge appeared in the frame. A tall, broad figure stood motionless for a second before reaching up, gripping a tree, and pulling itself upward with smooth, powerful movement. It climbed like it had done it 100 times before, too fast, too fluid for a human. Later, when Kenneth's daughter reviewed the footage, she noticed the shape more clearly. The figure was upright, muscular, and far larger than any person. It wasn't just a shadow or trick of light. Whatever Kenneth caught that morning wasn't ordinary. It was massive, alive, and eerily human-like, something that could only be called Bigfoot. The photo captures what seems like one of the scariest Bigfoot sightings ever. Deep in the pine forest, a tall, shadowy figure stands upright among the trees. The narrow trunks around it give a clear sense of scale, showing just how massive it looks. The shape of the creature is what makes it unsettling. It stands on two legs with a long, strong body that leans slightly forward, as if moving through the woods. The shoulders are wide and high, the head small and rounded, and there's no sign of a snout. The arms hang low, almost to the knees, and the stance feels steady, too natural to be a bear trying to balance upright. Its dark, rough fur blends into the shadows, with lighter patches over the shoulders. Judging by the trees, it's clearly taller than any human. Everything about the figure, the size, posture, and movement fits the image of a large, reclusive primate hiding in silence deep within the forest. At 12:23 a.m., the forests of Wisconsin were wrapped in darkness. The trees towered above, swallowing any trace of light. 3 men, Matt, Bobo, and Larry from the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, were out on a late-night search, hoping to find proof of the creature people call Bigfoot. Armed with flashlights and recording gear, they moved deeper into the woods. Every sound made them alert. The forest was quiet yet alive, watching their every move. A strange, high-pitched cry suddenly cut through the silence, freezing them in place. The laughter they shared earlier turned into tension. Matt suggested the inchworm method, taking turns moving ahead while the others stayed still. Step by step, they crept further. Faint knocks, distant rustles, and shifting shadows surrounded them. Something was out there. When dawn came, they found no solid proof, but the signs, the sounds, and the unease left them sure something was hiding in those woods, watching them all night. A woman was hiking alone through a dense forest in California when she suddenly felt a strange chill. It wasn't the cold, but that uneasy sense that someone was watching her. She stopped, turned around, and scanned the trees. At first, everything looked normal, just quiet woods and sunlight slipping through the branches. But then, something caught her eye. Perched high on a tree, half hidden among the leaves, was a dark figure. It didn't move. It just sat there with an eerie stillness, watching. As she focused her camera, the outline became clearer. A large head, thick shoulders, and a shape far too massive to be a bird or a person. She stood frozen, her heartbeat racing. The creature seemed to vanish a moment later, swallowed by the shadows. That brief encounter left her shaken. Was it really Bigfoot, or just the forest playing tricks? No one can say for sure. In November 1991, 17-year-old Corey Fay set out for a hunting trip in Oregon's Wallowa Wilderness with his friend Mark. Corey was no amateur. He had professional outdoor survival training and years of experience. But that day, something went terribly wrong. As daylight faded, the two lost their way. They decided to split up, hoping to find the car from different directions. Mark returned safely, but Corey never did. A massive search began. Over 250 volunteers, helicopters, horses, and dogs scoured 12 square miles for 10 days, but not a single trace was found. Months turned into a year. Then, in September 1992, 2 hunters stumbled upon Corey's belongings scattered across 3 different locations: his backpack, rifle, and jacket. Fragments of his bones and a single tooth were later discovered at 6,500 feet, buried under snow. Even stranger, investigators found massive footprints nearby, far larger than a human's. Theories poured in: hypothermia, animal attack, foul play, even something supernatural. But none could explain why his remains were found so high up or why his gear was scattered so far apart. Decades later, the case remains one of Oregon's most haunting wilderness mysteries. A man captured a chilling video of something staring back at him in the middle of the night. He was outside when he noticed movement in a tree. Out of curiosity, he pointed his camera upward, and that's when he saw it, 2 glowing red eyes shining through the darkness. The figure itself was barely visible, but those eyes alone were enough to make anyone's blood run cold. Some people who saw the clip believe it was a Sasquatch hiding in the branches. Others say it could have been an owl or some nocturnal animal reflecting light. But the size and distance between the eyes didn't seem right for a bird. A few even suggested it might be something supernatural, something beyond explanation. The man didn't stay to investigate. A hiker was walking alone on a quiet forest trail when he noticed something moving behind a thick bush. At first, he thought it might be a deer or a bear, so he took out his camera to record it. But as he zoomed in, the shape didn't look like any animal he had seen before. It was tall, dark, and oddly still, as if it was watching him. The woods around him went completely silent. Even the birds stopped chirping. He whispered softly, trying to calm himself, but his breathing grew faster. Then, the shape suddenly shifted. He stumbled backward, his camera shaking as he tried to focus. In the last few seconds, his fear was visible, pure panic. No one knows what he saw that day. Maybe it was just a shadow, or maybe something real was hiding behind that bush, watching him as he fled the trail. A lone hiker was wandering deep inside a dark forest late at night, recording his journey as the cold air surrounded him. The woods were silent except for the crunch of snow under his boots. Then, without warning, an eerie scream echoed from somewhere deep within the trees. It wasn't human. The sound was long, raw, and filled with something that didn't sound natural. The hiker froze. The scream came again, louder this time, cutting through the stillness of the night. He couldn't tell what creature could make such a sound, but it felt too strong and too far away to be small. His mind went to one possibility: Bigfoot. Skeptics later claimed it could have been a fox or a bobcat, but those who heard the recording said it didn't sound like any known animal. When compared with alleged Bigfoot recordings online, the similarity was undeniable. Maybe, just maybe, the hiker had captured the real sound of Bigfoot.
Crazy sounding out here. It is a full moon though. Oh, the coyotes were out earlier. That could have spooked something up. Get closer. Whatever it is. Huh. See what it is.
On the 8th of July 2012, near Clipper Mills, California, a man's truck broke down while he was towing his boat to a nearby lake. With no phone signal and no help in sight, he and his dogs had to spend the night on the side of a quiet mountain road. As the sun disappeared behind the trees, the forest grew still. Around 10 at night, a chilling scream tore through the silence. It wasn't human, yet not like any known animal. The man's dogs froze. They didn't bark or whine, as if instinct told them to stay silent and hidden. The sound echoed again, deeper and closer this time. The man sat in his truck, heart racing, waiting for it to stop. Some say it was Bigfoot. Others think it was just nature playing tricks. But that night, the Sierras felt alive with something watching. A short audio clip, just 17 seconds long, recently made its way across Reddit, stirring up heated debates among believers and skeptics alike. The clip, reportedly recorded deep in the woods, featured a strange, low growl that sent vibrations through listeners' phones. Some said the sound carried an eerie bass that felt more than heard, almost like a physical presence pressing against the chest. Many users claimed it resembled what's known as infrasound, a low-frequency vibration animals like elephants and whales use, and some believe Bigfoot might produce. A few listeners described the feeling as instant dread, while others insisted it sounded more like a deer or mountain lion. Despite the mystery, a handful of people stood by their belief, saying the growl matched other Sasquatch encounters they had researched. The original poster gave little context, no location, no weather details, just a timestamp of 5:08 a.m. That lack of backstory only fueled the curiosity. What do you think it is actually? Two friends went camping deep in the woods, one quiet weekend. They spent the evening laughing, filming random clips, and enjoying the firelight under the stars. Everything felt peaceful, until one of them noticed something odd moving beyond the trees. They thought it was just a shadow or maybe an animal passing by, so they ignored it. Later that night, when they replayed the footage on their phone, something strange appeared on the screen. A tall, pale figure moved awkwardly behind them, its shape and motion unlike anything human. The camera had caught it for only a few seconds, but that short moment was enough to chill them to the bone. They watched the video over and over, hoping for a clear answer, but the more they looked, the less it made sense. Some say it was just one of them at an odd angle. Others believe something else was out there, silently watching. They were halfway up a sun-scorched mountain when their climb turned into something they would never forget. He paused on a narrow ledge to fix his backpack while his wife, a few meters below, filmed the route on her phone. When she lifted the camera, she froze. At first, it looked like a shadow clinging to the rocks. Then, it moved. A tall, broad figure, completely black from head to toe, stepped forward. No jacket, no gear, no sign of being human. Its movement was slow and crouched, staying close to the ground like it didn't want to be seen. The footage caught its rough shape, but no face, only its size and strange way of moving. The mountain went silent. After a few tense seconds, the figure slipped behind the rocks and vanished. Later, they marked the place on a map, 2 small points and 1 short video, the only proof of what they saw. In August 1994, during an expedition in Oregon's Blue Mountains, Paul Freeman captured something that would later become one of the most talked about Bigfoot videos. The footage started with Freeman recording large, human-like footprints pressed deep into the mud. The prints showed fine skin details called dermal ridges, which were hard to fake. As Freeman followed the trail, his camera suddenly caught sight of a tall, bipedal figure walking about 50 yards ahead. The creature was covered in dark, shaggy hair and moved with a smooth, natural gait. Its arms swung freely, and muscles seemed to shift under the fur. Freeman's breathing grew heavy, his voice filled with shock. The moment felt real, raw, and unplanned. That brief clip, now known as the Freeman footage, still stands as one of the most mysterious encounters ever recorded in the hunt for Bigfoot. A woman from Florida named Lisa shared a strange video she recorded while walking near her home in Naples. She claimed she noticed a dark silhouette standing still among the bushes, something that looked out of place in the quiet woods. At first glance, it seemed like a simple tree stump, but as the footage continued, the shape appeared bulkier, almost alive. Hidden among fallen branches and thick leaves, the dark figure had a rounded form, darker than everything around it. Some watchers said they could see faint shoulders and even a head, shaped by light and shadow. Skeptics believed it was only an illusion created by the forest lighting, but others argued it looked like a crouching creature trying to stay hidden. The dense palm leaves and crisscrossing branches made it a perfect hiding spot. The shadow in Lisa's video left everyone guessing long after. A group of friends spent the afternoon exploring the old county landfill, joking around and filming everything on their phones. It was just another dull weekend, until they noticed something strange in one of the clips. In the background, something huge was moving between the mounds of garbage. The video was shaky and blurry, but whatever it was didn't look human. It stood tall, broad, and heavy, almost gliding through the trash instead of walking. None of them remembered seeing anyone out there that day. When they played the footage again, a chill ran through the group. The figure looked alive, but too large to be a person, too slow to be an animal. No one wanted to admit it, but a thought crossed every mind. Could it really be something unknown, something like Bigfoot roaming so openly in such a place? Or had they just captured a mystery no one could ever explain? On the cold evening of the 6th of November 2023, a hunter set out on a bow hunting trip deep in the forest. As dusk crept in, he began recording himself after hearing strange noises echoing through the trees. At first, the sounds were faint, but soon they grew louder. Low growls and distant howls that sent chills down his spine. He had hunted for years and knew the woods well, yet this sound was unlike anything he had ever encountered. The forest, usually full of life, had turned eerily silent. Not a single deer appeared, as if everything was hiding from something unseen. When the hunter posted the video online, even experts couldn't identify the sound. Some suggested it might be the Chiatanka, a creature from Lakota legend said to walk between worlds. Others believed it was something natural, just distorted by the wilderness. But one thing was certain, it didn't sound human. A video surfaced online that quickly caught attention after Jeremy Henson and his father reviewed it together. The clip, reportedly leaked from a team assigned to monitor a restricted forest area, has since stirred massive curiosity. In the footage, 3 dark figures are seen walking in a line through dense woods. Many believe the largest one in front is the father, the smallest in the middle a child, and the last the mother. Their movement appears slow, steady, and oddly human. Skeptics argue that the figures could just be monkeys or even people in costumes, blaming the poor video quality for the confusion. Still, others point out the dome-shaped heads, wide shoulders, and long strides that don't match any known animal. Whether real or not, the video has reignited fascination with Bigfoot legends, especially because it seems to show not just one, but a whole family. A hiker was walking through a quiet forest in Australia when something strange happened. Out of nowhere, a heavy shape dropped from a tree and rushed straight at him. Startled, he turned and ran, his heart racing as dry leaves cracked behind him. He didn't stop until he reached the open trail, but even then, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching him from the trees. The forest, once calm, now felt alive and eerie. Some say it was a drop bear, the mythical predator said to fall on people from above. Others claim it was the yowie, a mysterious creature believed to roam the outback. No one really knows what he saw that day, but ever since, locals say the forest has never felt the same after dark.
I'm telling you, people don't even believe in drop bears. It's just a... Whoa, there's one! Whoa! Go! Oh my god. Oh, get.
A chilling video from a quiet forest in Gothenburg, Sweden has caught the internet's attention. Filmed by a woman named Ellen Mellbergstedt, it shows something or someone step out from behind a tree for just a second before vanishing back into the woods. She was walking alone through the muddy path, heading to her bus stop, and had no idea what her camera had captured. Later, when she watched the clip, she froze. The shape didn't look like a person, and it didn't move like one either. Its outline was bulky, its face dark and unclear, almost hidden by the shadows, much like a Bigfoot. Aylin insisted she didn't believe in anything supernatural. She often roamed the woods alone, but this time, even she couldn't explain what she saw. No other people were around, no sound except the rustle of trees and birds. Still, the figure appeared just for a heartbeat before melting back into the forest. Some now think it could be a trick of light. Others are sure it might be something else, something large, silent, and watching from the trees. Maybe even a Bigfoot. A Reddit user named Remo posted a strange video on a paranormal subreddit, claiming to have caught something bizarre on camera. He and his brother were confused by what they saw. A large, dark figure walking across a wide, empty field near their remote home. The road ahead was empty, yet the sensor lights suddenly turned on, even though nothing visible was there to trigger them. In the video, the figure moves in a slow, heavy way, almost like it's waddling. Its movement doesn't look human. In another clip, its huge shadow appears before it passes again. The next morning, Remo said they found 2 black leaves where it had walked, and the nearby trees had started turning dark, almost as if they were rotting. Online viewers had mixed opinions. Some thought it was Sasquatch, others an orc or even Hagrid. Whatever it was, it didn't seem natural. A Reddit user named Taden Tracker shared a set of strange photos on the cryptid subreddit. He said his great-uncle took them somewhere around 1984, deep in the woods on his farm in northwestern Wisconsin. His uncle had spent years in the military, a man who never talked much about his past, but whenever it came to these photos and the old video, he couldn't stop bringing them up. The clips were later lightened and slowed down, but they didn't reveal much more, just a faint glimmer of eyeshine and a shadowy figure moving fast between the trees. Taden mentioned that the figure almost looked like a man, yet there was something unnatural about its movements. His uncle was convinced it was something else, something he couldn't name. For decades, he kept talking about that moment in the woods. Whatever he saw that day clearly left a mark he could never forget. Ivan Mark spent a decade chasing one question. He wanted to know if Bigfoot was real. He tracked forests from the Pacific Northwest to Alaska. He found huge footprints. He took plaster casts. He sent hair to labs. The results did not match any known animal. Ivan saw signs in caves and on rocks. He found old carvings that matched the creature people described. He noticed a pattern. Sightings rose in summer above the Arctic Circle. Young ones were spotted there too. He thought Bigfoot might move with the seasons. One night, Ivan hid in a swamp. He waited without moving. Before dawn, he saw a large, dark figure. It stood and fed on plants by the water. A smaller one stood nearby. They did not run. Other animals did not flee. Ivan kept his camera steady. He filmed and took photos. Scientists called him a hoaxer. Some people said he was wrong. Ivan kept all his casts, films, and notes. He believed the creature belonged to nature and moved to survive. He promised to keep looking. He wanted clear proof for everyone. It had rained through the night, but by morning, the forest floor was already dry. The air was cool and quiet, filled with the scent of wet pine. Near a fallen branch lay a small bird's nest. delicate but untouched, as if nature had guarded it through the storm. The group often explored places where people claimed to have seen Sasquatch. They weren't chasing stories for fame, they were drawn by curiosity. What made these creatures come here? Food, safety, or just the peace of untouched wilderness? The Pacific Northwest held mysteries that never seemed to fade. Most days passed uneventfully, just the sound of boots on moss and the whisper of wind through cedar. But every now and then, they found something, a strange track, a broken branch, or an eerie silence that made them stop. Those rare moments of wonder were enough to keep them searching, one trail at a time. In June 2013, a man from Georgia left his camcorder in the woods to capture local wildlife. When he checked the footage later, he heard chilling screams echoing through the forest. The sounds didn't match any known animal. They were raw and distant, almost human. Confused and curious, he told his neighbor about the strange noises and decided to set up the camera again. This time, the recording showed grunts and rocks being thrown toward the camera. It looked like something was out there, watching. The video went online and spread fast, leaving people debating whether it was proof of something unknown. Years later, he finally learned the truth. His neighbor's teenage son had been hiding in the woods that night, pretending to be a creature just to mess with him. Still, the first recording was never explained, leaving a question that lingers even now. What made those screams? A trail camera in a city's restored nature park captured two strange images one night. The pictures showed a lone figure moving through the dark forest. In one shot, it stood still on a narrow bridge that linked two wetland areas, as if it had stopped mid-step. The location of the camera hasn't been shared. Officials say it's to protect the area and keep people away. But what makes this story unsettling is that the photos weren't leaked by random people online. The city itself released them. The restoration project had brought animals back to the woods, and everything seemed normal. Until this. The figure wasn't an animal. It wasn't supposed to be there. And now, people can't stop wondering what else moves through those woods after dark. 4 hikers wandered into the forest late at night, carrying flashlights and excitement. They stopped to take a quick photo, laughing as the camera clicked. The image looked normal at first, just 4 friends smiling beneath the dark canopy of trees. But later, when one of them zoomed in, everything changed. From the shadows behind them, 2 glowing eyes stared directly at the camera. The light reflected in a way that didn't look natural. It wasn't a reflection, and it didn't look like any animal they knew. The eyes seemed too high, too steady, almost human. A chill ran through them as silence filled the room. Maybe it was just a trick of the light, or maybe something had been standing there, quietly watching. One thing was certain. The hikers hadn't been alone in those woods that night. And for more jaw-dropping encounters, watch this next video.
A man sees a mysterious hooded figure every night. A nude man in the jungle is walking around with a sex toy in hand. 6 boys and girls suddenly went missing under mysterious circumstances. 7 creepy cases, 7 horrifying encounters, and no one has any explanation for what they saw. I dug up the most disturbing, unexplained camping incidents caught on camera and why most people will never hear about them. This is 7 creepy, abnormal camping encounters, starting with this friend's group. Number 7. Screaming in the forest. Who went for a camping night in the forest, the kind of party many friends groups dream of having. But none of them could ever return after that night in the jungle. This terrifying video was recovered by a relative of one of the campers. Everything was normal at first, just like any bonfire camping trip. The friends were talking and laughing, but suddenly something happened that none of them expected.
Hear that? Get Trevor. Austin, get the light.
When the campers didn't return, a relative of one of the campers tried to search for them and went to the campsite. And when he arrived, he saw the campsite was ruined and the place was eerily quiet. The place looked abandoned, belongings scattered as if the friends had fled in a hurry. All that the relative found was a camcorder buried under a pile of leaves. When he played the footage, he saw something chilling that froze him in shock. Take a look.
Hey! That was not an elk.
While the camping was going nicely, suddenly the camera captured glimpses of something strange. You could hear inhuman, unnatural sounds.
Where's that coming from? Where's that coming from? Where's that coming from? Get my keys. Get my keys. Get my keys.
Even the campers in the footage seemed uneasy. Something was clearly not right. The sounds alone revealed that this was monstrous, something unknown. Within moments, the group panicked because they realized that they were not safe. They were surrounded by bizarre creatures or a monster that they had never seen. They tried to grab their keys, pack the food, and escape, but the knocks of the creature were too close. It was already targeting them. Different types of horrifying, unnatural sounds came from all around, making it impossible to know whether there was one creature or many. Though the friends tried to hide, it wasn't enough. They were seen, hunted, and no one knows what happened to them. But the tape screams that something definitely happened, and whatever took them is still out there, waiting for the next group of unsuspecting campers. Would you dare camp here, or can you offer any explanation for this case? Number 6. Night Shadow in the Pines. An explorer used to go for a late-night walk, and then he saw this.
There's something really weird going on down here.
He was walking through the Southway's footpath, but recently this place became known for robberies. So the council replaced the dim orange streetlights with bright white LEDs, but darkness still remained beneath the trees. And that's where the first unease started. The man noticed a shadow out of the corner of his eye that stood motionless with its hood pulled low.
Look, he's just over there, look. What's he doing? There's a guy just stood there with his hood up at the bottom of the footpath. Look, you see him? This is weird. Do you know what I reckon's going on there? He's definitely either dealing or he's expecting a dealer. One of the other. He's just stood there with his hood up, with his face looking at the ground, so no one can see what it looks like. Mate, what the actual Yeah, he's just stood there, look. Hold on, let me zoom in. Look, he stood there by the blurt. What is he doing?
At first, the man kept walking, pretending not to notice, but the presence was too hard to ignore. He came back home that night, but he had a feeling that something was watching. The next night, the explorer went there again, and that hooded figure was there. This time, he wasn't alone, at least not entirely. Shapes seemed to move in the trees in the shadows. One moment the figure was in the hedges, the next across the path. The figure never spoke, never moved closer, just stood there watching, or pretending not to. But this was not the end. The Explorer guy knew it was the place where people were getting robbed. Still, he kept visiting the place. The pattern was always the same. Arrive, walk the path, spot him. Sometimes the figure moved, sometimes he didn't. Sometimes there were others, 3, maybe 4. Even once, in the corner of the Explorer's eye, a man in a purple jumper stood alone in an open field with his back turned, motionless. It was never clear what they were, or what they wanted, or even why they were there night after night. In the end, the Explorer left without answers. What do you think these figures were? Because here's the thing about the Southway's footpath. The lights make it seem and look safer, but once you leave the street and lights fade, it's a whole different world. Number 5, a pair of glowing eyes. Meet Jason, the hiker for our next story who thought it would just be another solo camping trip in the Appalachian Mountains. All he wanted was a chance to work on camp projects, carve a spoon, and enjoy the peace of the woods. He carried his camera everywhere, documenting each move, from hauling logs to setting up tarp and building a fire. The day was ordinary, even soothing, but as night fell, a low, uneasy tension began to settle around him. He sat by his fire, carving his first spoon, while strange noises floated down from the ridges above. At first it was faint, rustling leaves, odd bird-like calls, but something about them felt wrong. Around 10 o'clock, the feeling almost turned real. Just as he tried to sleep, a sound ripped through the night. 4 deep, weird calls echoed from the ridge behind his camp, nothing like Jason had ever heard, part ape, part wild pig, and part prehistoric predator. The calls came back to back, followed by 2 more, each vibrating through the trees and sending Jason's heart hammering. He froze, unsure whether to run or stay, but curiosity kept him rooted. Something was moving out there, circling his camp. It was impossible to sleep after that. Around 1 in the morning, he sensed more movement, the sound of at least 2 large creatures patrolling the perimeter. Somehow he gathered his courage and took his camera and flashlight, attempting to capture whatever was out there, but nothing appeared on video. Still, he could feel it. Something was watching and studying him. By dawn, Jason was exhausted, deeply shaken, though the creatures had vanished. He left the place in the morning. This was not the end of it. Reviewing his footage later, he noticed something chilling, a pair of glowing eyes peering through the trees just beyond the firelight. Even the viewers on YouTube could spot them. That's when the realization hit him. He hadn't imagined the calls, the footsteps, the circling shapes. Whatever had been there, it had observed him all right. He'd survived the night but could not figure out what creature it was. But what's your thoughts? Number 4, mysterious forest figure. This camper built his dream cabin out in the woods, but one night something destroyed it. After weeks of hauling pallets of wood, cutting by hand, he was close to finishing a personal escape. But as darkness fell, an uneasy feeling told him he wasn't welcome. And by the next morning, his cabin lay in ruins.
What the hell has happened here? Oh my god. Don't know what is going on here.
The frame was toppled, walls smashed, and the carefully measured stove he'd planned to install sat useless on the ground. At first, he assumed it was nothing but a prank of some kids from nearby, but upon reviewing his trail camera footage, it told a far stranger story. In the daylight, a figure appeared, moving silently through the dense forest. It looked like a man in a ghillie suit, almost ghost-like, yet no ordinary person could come like this without being seen by anybody. As a result, his anxiety escalated as he watched through the hundreds of hours of footage. Camera after camera showed ordinary wildlife, deer, birds, rabbits, but then, night after night, the same figure appeared. It was graceful, careful, and almost predatory. It triggered cameras at different points, sometimes in pitch-black darkness, other times in daylight, always untraceable. Every step in the forest became a potential threat, every shadow a warning. Determined not to give in to fear, he returned with cameras, alarms, and trip lines. He camped near the wrecked cabin, the rain beating down, his heart racing, listening to the woods. Then came the splitting sounds, distant knocks, shadows flickering. His nerves stretched thin, but he pressed on, documenting everything. He knew he wasn't imagining it. Something or someone was really out there. But by morning, soaked and exhausted, he could not pinpoint any particular answer of who it was, a creature or any foul play by any man. Then he realized something crucial. The forest wasn't hostile. It was him who was the intruder. The wrecked cabin and elusive figure were warnings, not accidents, and where he'd rebuild, he understood that survival in these woods demanded respect, caution, and a willingness to face the unknown head-on. But what do you think ruined his cabin in the first place? That remained a mystery. Number 3. The Vanishing Stranger by the Lake. A YouTuber was setting up his camera beside a quiet remote lake in northern Ontario, ready to film a simple camping tutorial. He wanted to show viewers how to make s'mores using a Swedish stove. The surrounding forest felt safe and fine for camping until he sat to review his footage and noticed something odd in it. Did you see? In the distance, a figure could be seen walking toward the water. It looked like a person carrying something, moving naturally along the lakeshore. At first, it seemed like a passerby or perhaps another camper, but then the impossible happened. Mid-stride, the figure simply vanished into thin air. The YouTuber replayed the clip over and over, trying to find a trick of the light, a reflection, or even a camera glitch, but nothing could explain it. When he showed this to the locals, he got to know something weird, that the lake has a long history of strange sightings. Generations have whispered about glowing orbs skimming the water's surface, canoes appearing from nowhere, and figures that look almost solid before fading into the mist. When he looked it up online, he found out historians say hundreds of years ago, nomadic indigenous people used to live in the area. Their presence and old spiritual stories are still part of the land today. And for that, some people think that these disappearing figures are reminders of the past. Others believe something stranger is happening, maybe something in the area or something beyond our understanding. But what do you think it was? A trick of the camera, a fleeting spirit, or something else entirely? The footage and stories left one thing clear. The lake keeps its secrets well. The mystery isn't solved even to date, and perhaps it will never be. Number 2. Fishing trip turns into fugitive chase. It was meant to be a calm summer day, but little did these boys know that their bromance was soon going to turn into a suspense thriller. On June 23, 2025, a YouTuber and his friends went to fish at a quiet urban creek near the city. They had their fishing rods, light tackle, and a green rooster tail lure ready. In that peaceful afternoon, they caught small sunfish and bluegill near the rocks, laughed about who had the smallest fish, and admired the bright colors of each catch. But then, the sound of police sirens cut through the air. What was even stranger was to hear sirens here, because it was a calm spot. But just a few minutes later, the peace was broken even more when a man suddenly ran through the trees on the opposite bank. He jumped down straight into the creek, splashed through the water, and scrambled up the other side, moving fast and looking over his shoulder. It was clear he was running away from something or someone. Moments later, police officers appeared on the road above, looking for the escaped man. The friends told the officers exactly where they saw the man go, even showing video proof that they had recorded. But things became more tense when they suddenly heard the man's voice calling out from the bushes nearby. And the sound made their stomachs tighten. He knew that they had seen him. For a brief moment, they realized that they were standing very close to someone desperate enough to run from police, and that thought was unsettling. Not wanting to take any chances, they slowly moved away from their spot. But by the time they had packed up, more police cars had gathered, and officers were searching the woods in all directions. The fugitive was still out there, hidden somewhere among the trees and bushes. What started as a simple fishing trip had turned into an unexpected manhunt. What would you do in this situation? Leave or help the police catch the fugitive? Number 1. Masked naked man terrorizing hikers. You won't believe what 2 hikers ran into near a historic Slovakian castle. One Monday, 2 women went hiking on the winding trails near Gimis Castle, expecting some peaceful time in the Green Valley. But their peaceful hike quickly turned surreal when a figure came out of the forest wearing only a balaclava and clogs. Even creepier, he was holding a stick topped with a sex toy. The sight froze them in place. The man claimed he hadn't expected anyone on the trail that day. At first, he even let the women take pictures, posing with his bizarre walking stick, without a hint of shame. He even apologized when he noticed their horror, explaining that this was his form of relaxation, a strange habit of wandering nude through the woods. The hikers were shocked but stayed cautious, unsure how to react. But they tried to continue. It became creepier. The man started following them. Fear crept in as the two women were being followed by this mysterious and creepy man, with no one around to help if things had went wrong. They tried to keep their distance, trying to remain calm, and finally requested a photograph as a strange kind of proof. The man said yes before wandering back into the forest, leaving the hikers unharmed but totally shaken. Later, police launched an investigation into the incident, noticing that this was the third such sighting in the area since 2020. Surprisingly, there have been no reports of aggression or sexual assault, but the repeated appearances of this masked nudist have left hikers wary. The authorities are still seeking the man. For the hikers, the experience was a mix of fear and disbelief. Encountering someone so bizarre and unrestrained in a usually calm forest was something shocking and traumatic. What would you do if you were in their situation? And what do you think is the motive of this bizarre nudist man? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Maybe together we can uncover the mystery. And to keep the chills on, just watch this next video.
Is this you?
Hello? Hello?
From whispers outside a tent to a mysterious figure that never turned around, just stood there motionless, pretending to be human, these camping encounters aren't just eerie, they feel wrong. Some were caught on camera, others only noticed in hindsight, but all leave the same question: what was really out there? Stick around, because the final one out of the 7 disturbing camping encounters doesn't just unsettle, it sticks with you. This mysterious story comes straight from a Reddit user named I'mADMB. I'mADMB and his friends decided to go exploring one day, and they picked this old, abandoned quarry. A kind of spooky place, overgrown, silent, the kind of place where you really wouldn't want to be alone. Everything was chill at first until they noticed something off. There was this guy just standing there, not doing anything, not even saying a word. He was facing this big rock, dead still, except for those little twitches every now and then, like subtle movements, just enough to make your skin crawl. And the creepiest part, he never turned around, not even once. Didn't acknowledge them at all. He just stood there like he was frozen, or possessed almost. Now obviously that set off all kinds of alarm bells for the group. They didn't try to talk to him or get any closer, they just got out of there really quickly and left the place. But eventually it gets weirder. Later that night, another friend of theirs, completely unrelated to the quarry trip, was driving down this narrow lane that runs alongside the same quarry. It's one of those dark country type roads, no streetlights, barely wide enough for a car. As she's driving, she suddenly sees someone standing right in the middle of the road, a guy in a black coat. Just standing there, not moving, not reacting to the car headlights, like some kind of statue. She slows down, probably expecting him to move, but he doesn't budge, doesn't even flinch. It freaked her out so bad, she actually had to reverse all the way back down the lane, in the dark, because the guy was just standing there, blocking the way. Now here's the kicker, they're all pretty sure it was the same guy from earlier at the quarry. Same behavior, same coat, and same unsettling energy. Either it was the same creepy guy with no good intentions, or it was one hell of a creepy coincidence. Either way, something about that day just did not sit right. What do you think that this man was? Was he a real man, a lunatic, or something paranormal? Tell us in the comments below. After months of feeling mentally buried, Grizzly Gaz finally picked up his gear,
food that makes her itch. Through the winter, she's been fine. No scratching, no itching.
The evening was calm, clear skies, crisp air, and a view that would make anyone pause. But as Gaz settled in, he couldn't shake holding air. It deflated again and again no matter how many times he blew it up. A frustration on top of the unease that was bubbling inside of him. To make matters worse, the sounds of the night began to twist his nerves.
Shall we?
Oh, look at them little legs, man. You alright, dude? Come this way, pass this way. It breaks me heart, mate. Oh, look. One of these little village things. A little moth there. Can you see his eyes glowing up red? Bet you can't, can you? Let's see what's down here. Imagine living up here back in like the 1800s or whatever. No electricity, no running water. Nothing. You just have to have a campfire, wouldn't you, with your mates, huddled up together to keep warm. The night sky as well. Don't know.
He tried to shake it off, but then came the faintest rustling. A quick glance outside the tent revealed nothing. No animals, no movement. He told himself it was just the wind, or maybe it was his imagination. Yet deep down, he couldn't ignore the eerie silence that felt too thick around him.
And if you don't know what a navvy is, or was, they were, I think it's short for navigational engineers, and they used to build all the railways and reservoirs and stuff, and they were real tough men, heavy drinkers, and I suppose you'd have to be out in these moorlands and that for months at a time, sometimes years, building these railways and reservoirs and stuff. I imagine there'd have been a fair few accidents, maybe even deaths up here.
Gaz started hearing soft, almost imperceptible footsteps. They weren't his, and they definitely weren't Fendi's, who was curled up beside him. He tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was just birds, or maybe the wind had carried the sound from the distant woods. But something...
You just fart then? Watch out, there's guy lines there, mate. What are you looking at?
The thought of it being a prank crossed his mind, maybe even some locals just like messing around, but the isolation of the place, the empty feeling of the moors surrounding him, made him feel small. What kind of creature could come there to haunt him? Because something was definitely out there, just not coming in front of Gaz. The night dragged on. Was it nerves, or was there really something lurking just beyond the reach of the firelight, waiting for the perfect moment to step into the camp? What are your thoughts? Tell us in the comments. A Reddit user, Gedla08, shared this wild story that still gives me the chills. He and his friends were out hiking on this popular trail near a 150-foot waterfall. It's a solid 45-minute uphill trek, a local favorite. They weren't just doing the regular trail though, they decided to go off course a bit, bouldering around the base of the waterfall. Now, that area is a little more rugged, with scattered pools and big rocks, and barely anyone that strays far from the main path. While they were messing around down there, they stumbled across this 22-year-old girl face down in the mud, and her legs were shattered. Both of them had compound fractures. She had nothing on her, no food, no water, No phone, not even a jacket to keep warm. She was just lying there, broken and alone. Turns out her friend, the one she'd been hiking with the night before, had died trying to go get help. She didn't even make it 100 yards away. Can you imagine? No one even knew these girls were there. No one was looking, and this girl had been laying in the cold and dirt for almost 20 hours before they found her. Of course, they immediately called 911 and gave her whatever they had, water, snacks, everything. A helicopter eventually showed up and airlifted her to the hospital. It's seriously, though, a miracle that she survived. Now here's where it gets really creepy, though. They had taken a bunch of pictures that day, just hiking around, doing their thing, and later, when they went back through the photos, there she was, in the background, just lying there. They hadn't even noticed her at the time. Imagine if they hadn't found her, if they had just gone home, gone through their pictures a few days later, and suddenly realized, wait, what is that red thing behind the rock? That bright red spot, that was her hair. That thought alone is haunting to me. What do you say? Let me know in the comments below. The Action Adventure Twins team are known for going deep, literally. This time they took on a massive abandoned limestone mine, rumored to run about 3 levels underground, with a strange green lake hidden at the very bottom.
Check it out, we're going to this old limestone mine. And we've heard some crazy things, like this is 3 levels deep. So we're gonna try to get to the bottom of it where there's supposed to be a lake. Gotta bust out them sick rock climbing moves. Okay.
This was a big, I don't know if this was conveyor over here, or not, they could have been second.
Oh, yeah. I think the trucks would drive up down into that and then to just pour it on.
That was definitely what it was.
Yeah. Alright, I'm hitting the flashlight. What? That definitely looks like a crusher.
Their mission was simple: explore, document, and see what lies beneath. But one of them walked away with more than just footage. Something about that place dug in deeper than the rocks around them. As they made their way in, the mine was a chaotic sprawl of old industrial equipment, busted rock crushers, belts, and blast marks that blackened the ground.
Operation in here.
Weird, it's going both ways. It's like 2.
Huh.
It's a pretty big piece of equipment.
I know. More belts coming this way. The ground's crunchy now.
I feel like we're gonna get lost in here. Yeah, dude, look, you see where all the water's been dripping?
Is that what's going on?
Yeah, definitely. All those little cracks in the ceiling. It's probably why they evacuated the place.
Oh heck yeah, I'm thirsty, man.
Let's pump water a good while. Oh wait, no, it's oh, that's just rough. Water out.
Well, you can see the dynamite hose there. I'm guessing that's what it is.
Yeah, they got ready to blast again or something.
When that drops off to the 7th level,
have you been down to the 2nd level?
that's where I smelled the gas.
Oh. Oh yeah, we should turn on that meter soon.
You got to rappel down to the next level?
No, it's like slope. It goes down. There's like a 50-foot foot that drops straight off over there.
Dang. They had like a whole workshop in here or something. Pump.
This was the bus that drove the miner team.
That's wild. How many you think packed in there?
It's pretty big in there, so I'm going to say quite a bit. 20.
20 of them miners in here?
Yeah, they got little wooden benches.
Wow. Yeah.
I feel like the floor has. Dude, it looks like an old trolley.
It is awful black right here.
I know. That's definitely...
The air was musty, heavy, and damp. Natural tar oozed from crevices. They found remnants of a bus that was used to shuttle workers, wooden benches still lined up inside, as if waiting for the next shift that would never come.
Bat next to it. So it can't smell too bad up there.
Weird. I've never noticed that.
What the heck?
It's a big fan. Whoa. Oh, yep, there is a lake, boys.
You see water?
Yep.
No way.
We gotta get a raft. Wait, how are we gonna get this thing up?
I think we can move it, all of us. It's deeper than I remember. You would not want to cliff dive off of that. Yeah, I was thinking it was practical.
Eventually, they reached the third level. There it was, the infamous green lake. Still, silent, suspiciously vibrant, like something from a soda commercial. Crystal clear, but unnervingly deep.
This mine is stacked.
That's a full lake. Oh, snap. That is gonna be fun.
It's a good thing we brought the rafts.
Oh, that's fucking crystal clear, too.
It's so
deep. That's nice. Dude, that is freaking sick.
I think it's the greenest mine water I've ever seen.
I know. There's like remnants of a pump out there or something. It's too deep. It's an illusion. Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't drop down that far. What? There's a dead owl in the water. Oh!
An owl?
Face down in the water.
R.I.P.
It's suspiciously green.
Yeah, there's something in the water.
One of the twins made the leap, swam through the freezing water, earned his $100, and laughed it off. But the story didn't end there.
That's what gives it that special flavor that everybody enjoys. Let's see what's around the corner.
You have to swim over this.
Yeah.
Let's get all ready.
So, no hole in the ceiling.
Big ass bat.
Wow. Bats everywhere. Yeah, those are huge though. Yeah.
That night, while resting near the lower levels, one of the twins felt it. It was simply a distinct gut punch of being watched. No footsteps, no voices, just the overwhelming sense that something or someone was standing just beyond the fabric, just outside of reach of the light.
An owl.
Face down in the water.
R.I.P.
It's suspiciously green.
Yeah, there's something in the water. Probably.
Is this our dynamite wire?
Yeah, you got the dynamite wire right there. This is like Jolly Rancher water.
Yeah, green apple Jolly Ranchers.
This is actually how they make Jolly Ranchers. And Mountain Dew.
With dead owls in it.
Yeah. That's what gives it that special flavor that everybody enjoys. Let's see what's around the corner.
You have to swim over this.
Yeah.
Let's get all ready.
So, no hole in the ceiling.
Big ass bat.
Wow. Bats everywhere. Yeah, those are huge though. Yeah. place is shook.
It's still shaking. Yeah. You cliff dive?
Rox sat undisturbed. The tunnel was still and dark. The others were off in the water, their laughter echoing from a distance. Yet that feeling, that something had been there. But whatever was down there in the mine, it wasn't just rustling metal and old machinery. But anyways, they shrugged it off and they got into the water as a humorous challenge. The result? Turns out it was the coldest water that guy, Davis, had ever jumped into. Would you ever dare to do such things in these places? I'd like to know in the comments below. During a routine late-night inspection back in 2014, somewhere around 11 p.m., a small paranormal research team led by Cooley Cockcroft set up camp in the ruins of Spaforth Castle in North Yorkshire. The group was used to chasing shadows and strange noises, but that night something felt off. Not super dramatically, but just enough to leave a scratch in the back of your mind. One of the team members, a woman whose name was kept out of reports for privacy, had been acting differently from the start. Not hysterical or panicked, but just quiet, almost withdrawn. No one thought too much of it at the time, but these things tend to happen on ghost hunts. Nerves, cold, maybe even the atmosphere. Spaforth Castle had its fair share of haunted history. But that subtle unease, it grew. Later in the night, she stepped away from the group, walking around the backside of the crumbling stone walls, flashlight beam jittering against the moss and centuries-old brick. She stood there for just a while, not long, but just long enough to draw attention. Another team member snapped a photo of her from behind. Just a routine shot. No one noticed anything strange in the moment. The real weight of it hit days later. When the photos were being reviewed, the image stopped Julie Cockcroft cold. There, faint but disturbingly clear, was the shape of something behind the woman. Two long arms, like shadows but with form, wrapped around her, and resting near her head what looked like the snout of a dog. Not a regular one either, something off, stretched and unnatural. That photo changed everything. The woman in the picture never returned to another investigation. She fell into a dark depression soon after. Her personality began to erode, slowly and then much more quickly. Julie stayed in touch with her husband, and both admitted that they weren't the same after that night. Physically and mentally, they were shaken, worn out by something they couldn't name. The idea of a hitchhiking entity started circulating, a spirit or presence that doesn't just haunt a place but clings to people, wraps itself around them, and then follows them home. Whatever it was, it made itself known, not with a scream, but with silence and stillness. And for the ones who felt it, that quiet presence was louder than any sound. Any idea what this could be? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. A man and his girlfriend had gone camping deep in the woods of Michigan. They picked a spot far from civilization with no other campers around, just dense forest and eerie silence. The day passed uneventfully. They cooked, talked, relaxed, but it was the night that flipped the script for these two. Around 2 a.m., the man started feeling something was off. The woods were too quiet, almost unnaturally so. Not even the sound of crickets. Then came a low crack, like a tree branch snapping. At first they brushed it off, but then came the yelping. Not
I heard footsteps over here.
Off to hearing.
There was something out there. He couldn't see it, but every hair on his body stood up. He strained to listen. Soft footsteps, slow and deliberate. Not just random movement, almost tracking. It circled the tent, paused, then moved again, as if it knew exactly where they were. Now, fully alert, the man peered out of the tent flap. Darkness. But the feeling of being watched only grew heavier. It felt like whatever was out there was waiting for them. And then, silence again. Dead silence. Even the trees seemed to hold their breath. Trying to stay calm, they made a decision. Get to the car. They grabbed their things and they walked fast. Not running, but on edge. That's when they spotted it. Deep, jagged scratches down the side of their car. Too long and too sharp for any regular animal.
Is this you?
No, I promise. Not intentionally, at least.
I don't think it was a branch.
I kind of think it was, because it lines up with the branch.
What the fuck?
Hello?
It's 4 in the morning. Who's gonna be up?
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's weird. It's fucking weird.
It felt like someone or something was lurking nearby, keeping an eye on them, and waiting for the perfect moment to attack. They just collected their handbags, their water bottles, and headed towards the car. Suddenly, a sound, low and guttural, ripped through the quiet. It wasn't far from them, maybe just a few feet behind the trees. They couldn't place what it was, but they felt it.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Not that. I don't know.
As they drove off, tires were spinning gravel. The man didn't look back. He didn't want to see what might have been standing just beyond the tree line. Did you want to go and check? Would you? Let us know in the comments below. In February 2017, Abigail Abby Williams and Liberty Libby Germain were murdered near the Manon High Bridge in Delphi, Indiana. The case remained unsolved for years despite national attention and multiple public appeals. A crucial piece of evidence in the investigation was a 43-second cell phone video recorded by Libby on the day of the murders. The video, captured on the bridge just before the girls disappeared, had only been partially released to the public until recently. For the first time, the full video was uploaded online, showing the final moments before the attack. In it, Abby and Libby are seen walking along the bridge. Abby is slightly behind Libby, and a man, Richard Allen, referred to as Bridge Guy by investigators, is seen following them. About 11 seconds into the video, Libby mentions there's no going back while continuing to walk forward. Moments later, the man is heard saying "down the hill" in a low, firm tone. The video cuts off 2 seconds after that. Previously released images and video clips, including the grainy still of the suspect and the now infamous phrase "down the hill," were all taken from this video.
See, this is the path.
During the trial, investigators testified that they had reviewed the clip hundreds of times. One lead investigator stated that he believed one of the girls may have mentioned a gun in the video, though that comment was later stricken from the court record. In 2022, Richard Allen was arrested for the murders and found guilty in late 2024, receiving a 130-year sentence. A day before the full video surfaced online, his attorneys filed an appeal claiming it doesn't impact the legal case.
No. Oh, hell no.
I love I'm. I don't know what the hell that means.
I don't know what that means either.
Let me complete that sentence.
The wilderness hides chilling secrets, unseen eyes, eerie whispers, and encounters that defy reason. From shadowy figures to bone-chilling sounds, these 6 haunting camping encounters caught on camera will make you question what truly lurks in the dark. Are you ready to face the nightmare hidden in the wild? Watch, if you dare. Don't miss the bonus in the end. October 28, 2024. This camper pulled up to the infamous 3rd Bridge near Denver, Colorado. It's a place the locals call Crybaby Bridge. And trust me, there's a reason for that nickname. This bridge has been tied to all kinds of spooky stories and creepy rumors. Word on the street is that back in the 1800s, a whole family was brutally killed there. And since then, there have been all sorts of bizarre accidents. People say they've seen strange lights, heard creepy noises, and even encountered ghostly figures roaming the area. And right from the moment they rolled up, it was clear something wasn't quite right.
What the hell happened? Huh? What happened? What?
I don't know, those guys look like he was coming from.
Now, this camper wasn't there for a relaxing night out in nature. Nope. They were there to film, get some footage of the place, and see if they could capture anything paranormal. But right when they were setting up, his buddy Mo suddenly yelled out from the bridge. Mo claims someone, or something, had been sneaking up on him. He said it felt like a shadowy figure was right behind him, just out of sight. Naturally, they both started looking around, but there was no one there. Just the eerie quiet of the place.
Like central to this area, so we're gonna actually go down there. We're gonna start investigating. We gotta make sure there's no one here. You good?
Yeah, he was standing on this side.
Okay. Yeah. What the fuck was that? I think just literally hit the bridge. Okay, I guess I can go down from here. Just trying not to tumble or lay down. It's okay from here. Whoa, this is creepy.
They weren't ready to call it quits just yet, though. They decided to head down beneath the bridge to keep looking for clues. That's when the real weirdness started. A loud thud echoed through the structure, like something or someone had slammed into it. It was the kind of sound that made your skin crawl. You could practically feel it vibrating under your feet, and it definitely got the adrenaline pumping.
What the fuck was that? I thought I saw something. We'll get back to the story in a second. I thought I saw something down there. For a second, it literally looked like there was somebody standing there. Hello? Hang on. Okay, is there actually like somebody here right now? Kind of like spying on us all of a sudden? Okay, I don't even know. So continue on with that story. Basically, the 2 brothers were driving with their Volkswagen. They lost control of the vehicle, ended up in the ditch, flipped the car 4 times, caught on fire, and their remains were undiscovered.
And then, just when they thought things couldn't get any stranger, one of them felt a hand, or something, grab at his jacket. It was like invisible fingers were yanking on it. He whipped around, shining his flashlight into the darkness, but there was nothing there. It was like the air itself was playing tricks on them.
Light. I just saw a flash of light all the way down there. I should have grabbed my... Is there a person down there? I swear for a second I thought I saw a person down there. Hello?
Dead animals.
Oh, no way. That is weird. I'll explain why that's weird in a moment, but... Investigation, yes. You guys know exactly what's going on. There's another light over there. I don't know what that is. And it's gone. No, wait, no, it's back. It's gone again. What the hell? What is that? Hey Mo, where'd you go? Where did Mo go?
They were starting to get a real bad feeling about all this, but they pushed on. Just when they thought they'd had enough, things took an even darker turn. The whole bridge started to shake. Not a small tremor, but like the ground itself was moving beneath them. And then, the scream. It wasn't a scream from a person. It was high-pitched, desperate, and definitely otherworldly. The kind of sound that makes your stomach drop straight into your feet. Mo, who had been getting more and more freaked out, shouted that he saw something moving in the shadows. A pale figure, he said. Maybe a ghost.
It's right there. Oh, what the fuck was that?
What the fuck is that?
What was that?
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
What?
There is no way. Bro.
What?
Bro, look at that.
What is that?
It's a fucking wrench. Bro, I just saw that wrench at the end of the bridge.
Really?
Literally.
What
that
the
is the
fuck?
exact same wrench I found at the end of the bridge.
Like it was just on the bridge.
It was on one of these like things here.
Oh.
But that wasn't the weirdest part. No, the temperature suddenly dropped, like someone had cranked down a massive air conditioner. Frost began to form on the windows of their car, even though it wasn't nearly cold enough for that to happen. It was like the cold was alive, and it was coming straight for them. The air felt heavy, and it was hard to breathe, like something was pressing down on them. At this point, they knew it was time to get the heck out of there.
It says, I love I'm. I love I'm. I don't know what the hell that means.
I don't know what that means either.
Let me complete that sentence.
That is definitely only true for one of us here, and it's not me.
It's you. No,
it's you.
It is you.
Definitely. Okay.
I'm just trying to lighten up the mood.
Yes.
Stay right here.
What the fuck? It just said stay right here.
It said stay right here?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Sounds like something's coming.
Yeah. I don't see anything. You hear somebody speaking?
No, I can't hear a thing because of the wind.
I thought I heard somebody talking. There's lights over there.
Well, we saw lights coming from down there.
Yeah.
They're not there anymore. I just see the house lights.
But as they were getting ready to leave, they saw something that stopped them dead in their tracks. A shadow, tall and moving way too fast, crossed right in front of their car headlights. It wasn't just a person walking. It was like it was gliding, almost unnatural. The figure disappeared into the fields, leaving them with that cold, sick feeling in the pit of their stomachs. Then, as if on cue, they heard a voice, soft but unmistakable. Stay right here. They didn't wait to see who it was. Instead, they just floored it, speeding away from the bridge as fast as they could. But as they drove off, they could still see lights flickering off in the distance, and the sound of faint drumming echoed in the air, like something was following them. Neither of them said a word the whole way home. They were shaken, silent, each one trying to process what had just happened. They'd come to Third Bridge looking for the paranormal, and well, the paranormal had definitely made its presence known. They left with some crazy footage and more questions than answers. Whatever they encountered there, it wasn't something they'd be forgetting anytime soon. Let me take you back to 1971. When Ron Morad and his friends decided to take a trip into the wild Sierra Nevada mountains. They were looking for a little adventure, a chance to disconnect from the usual grind. But what they ended up experiencing turned into one of the most talked about mysteries in Bigfoot history. So there they were, deep in the mountains, miles away from the nearest town. Everything was calm at first, just the typical sounds of nature. The rustling of trees, birds calling, that sort of thing. But as night started to fall, the atmosphere shifted. That's when the weird noises began. It started with some strange grunts and whooping sounds coming from the thick forest around them. It was unsettling, to say the least. And these weren't the sounds of any animals they knew. This was something different. Whatever was making these noises sounded huge, like it was right next to them. Naturally, the group started getting nervous. I mean, imagine being in the middle of nowhere with no other humans around, hearing these deep, strange sounds coming from the dark forest. They didn't take any chances. They set up a makeshift shelter, threw cables around it to keep themselves safe, and huddled inside, hoping whatever was making those noises would go away. But it didn't. In fact, the sounds started getting louder, almost like whatever was out there was circling their camp. The growls, the whoops, the eerie blowing sounds, everything seemed to get closer and closer. It wasn't long before they decided to record the noises, and what they captured is now legendary, what's come to be known as the Sierra Sounds. The recordings are unlike anything you'd expect to hear in the wilderness. There were growls, howls, and even sounds that seemed like some kind of communication between multiple beings. Experts have listened to these tapes over and over, and they all agree on one thing. The patterns and frequencies of the sounds don't match anything from known animals or humans. It was something completely different. Of course, no one really knows for sure what made those sounds. The idea that it could be Bigfoot, the elusive creature that's been a part of folklore for centuries, has been a hot topic of debate ever since. Some people believe the sounds are proof that Sasquatch is real, roaming the mountains just out of sight. Others are more skeptical, thinking it could be some elaborate hoax or maybe even an undiscovered animal making noises that we just don't understand. What really adds to the mystery is how remote their campsite was. I mean, they were literally miles away from any civilization, deep in the heart of the wilderness. So what could have been responsible for the noises they heard in such an isolated place? The group was on edge, wondering if they might need to shoot their way out if things got worse. But even with all the analysis, all the studies, no one has ever been able to prove exactly what made those sounds. To this day, the Sierra Sounds remain one of the most famous pieces of evidence in the Bigfoot mystery. Whether they're proof of Sasquatch or just some freaky coincidence, they've captured the imagination of people all over the world. Every time you listen to them, it's hard not to feel that chill down your spine, wondering just what could be out there, lurking in the woods. Ghosty, this YouTuber known for his wild adventures, decided to take on something pretty insane, camping overnight in a cemetery in the Dominican Republic.
Dude, I finally made it into the cemetery, the Dominican Republic. And it is crazy. I saw the vibe here, so different. It's just creepy. You know, I don't want to suspect, but it's a creepy cemetery. The cemetery of the Dominican Republic is crazy. I just heard a couple of noises here. There's a lot of dogs barking. I'm sorry, I'm just hearing a lot of noises out here. It's crazy. The whole cemetery. That was the same one that I heard earlier. Yo, I got the only creeps. Let's start walking around and see what we're gonna find and see what's gonna happen.
Now let me tell you, this cemetery is no joke. It's the kind of place that sends chills down your spine just by looking at it. And I should know. I've seen it myself.
What the? Now that's a chicken right there, but... Yo, let's start from over here first.
Anyway, Ghosty starts his exploration, flashlight in hand, ready to get up close and personal with whatever this spooky spot has to offer. Right away, he starts hearing some really weird noises, like distant barking that just feels off. He doesn't let that stop him, though, and pushes forward. You can tell he's determined, but even he starts feeling the weight of the eerie vibes hanging in the air. As he walks deeper into the cemetery, things get weirder. His flashlight beams across the dark graves and tombs, and what does he find? A candle flickering.
Somebody was here recently. Now, I don't know how long. When you light up a candle, I just don't know how long it'll be turned on. I mean, it is right now, 1 a.m. in the morning. What was that? Oh, my thing turned off. Oh, turn the battery down for a second. Oh, I gotta be careful shining the lights over there. It smells really bad here. Like this right here is wide open. It looks like somebody comes here and sleeps here. You see that pole right in the middle is like holding this little tomb.
Someone had been here recently and not in a good way. The whole place smells like decay, and with all the open tombs around him, the whole situation feels wrong.
Dude. My God. Hello, saludo. ¿Alguien está ahí? I just said somebody's here. Oh my God, what was that? Dude, I literally just saw something peeking out from that one right there.
He's clearly getting uncomfortable, and it's not just the smell. He keeps hearing sounds like something is moving behind him, but when he turns, there's nothing there. Then just when you think things can't get creepier...
Put my light a little lower. Oh my God. Oh my God, what was that? Something just moved right there. Hello, buenas. Yo hago videos de paranormales. Si quieres comunicar conmigo, me avisa. Something's moving. Hello? Yo, this is so scary. I don't do cemetery just because cemeteries are different in the United States compared to here. Like, this is kind of like a familiar vibe. What is that?
Ghosty spots something that makes his blood run cold. There's a figure half hidden behind one of the tombstones peeking at him.
What kind of bird or whatever animal is that?
At first, he's not sure what it is. Is it a person? A shadow? His heart starts racing, and the tension builds up even more. And it's not just the weird figure. The atmosphere in that cemetery just keeps getting more intense. Strange sounds, erratic movements, and the presence of animals in the distance. But Ghosty isn't so worried about the animals. No, he's more concerned about the people. Because in places like this, it's not the wild creatures you should be worried about. It's the ones who are hiding out in the shadows, watching you.
What the? Look. Somebody's right there.
Finally, after everything is just getting way too freaky, Ghosty's had enough. This is getting way too creepy. I'm out of here, he says, wrapping up his video. And honestly, I don't blame him. That Dominican cemetery was a lot more than he bargained for. It's one thing to visit, but spending the night? Yeah, I'd be out too. On June 26th, 2024, Eric and his buddy decided to go on a hike in the woods. They were heading toward this old monastery called Disney Bodberg, which was hidden pretty deep in the forest. The sky was starting to look like it was about to burst into a storm, but they pushed on, sticking to the marked path. But then, out of nowhere, they stumbled upon this creepy old house. It wasn't on any map or trail, and it had this eerie, abandoned vibe.
I didn't see a house on the map. There's a house right here. I hope we're not trespassing.
Yeah, me too. Wow. Look at that.
Yeah, but seriously, let's pay attention because I don't know what this is. So we'll just try to walk past it. Wish us luck. This is... Dude, Eric, this is kind of weird.
It felt like the kind of place where something was just off. Naturally, they got curious, but as soon as they stepped inside, Eric's EMF detector, which had been quiet up until then, started going crazy. It was like the house itself was alive, just waiting for them to enter. The air felt thick, like it was holding on to something or someone.
This is weird. So it looks like this is... Hello? Wow, dude, I think this is abandoned.
Really?
Yeah.
Eric decided to check out the second floor while his friend hung back downstairs. But as he climbed up, he started hearing faint footsteps above him. Even though the place was supposed to be empty, he wasn't alone. That's when his ghost radar app kicked in and started detecting 3 entities nearby. Eric, trying to stay calm, knocked on the wall and asked if anyone was there. That's when the silence was shattered by a faint but very deliberate knock from upstairs, just like someone was answering him.
There's another whole floor up here, but...
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, did you just hear that?
I heard that. It sounded like thunder, didn't it?
It did. Okay, now the EMF is going crazy. As soon as you went up there...
Really? Maybe
yeah.
Disturbed something? Someone?
Yeah, I think you disturbed something.
Wow.
Did Eric disturb? Yeah, Eric, you disturbed it. It's like responded to that.
Okay.
So. Wow, I want to go up there too. This is freaky. I hear something.
Yeah. Sounds like thunder or a bomb or something.
No, I think I heard somebody out here. Yeah, I heard the thunder too. Dude, I just got the weirdest vibe from this part of the building.
As they moved around, Eric's friend spotted something that made their skin crawl. There were handprints, skeletal handprints, smudged on the walls, covered in dust like they'd been there for decades.
Wow, dude. That is freaky. I never noticed that before.
And then, just when they thought it couldn't get any weirder, Eric heard a voice. It was soft, almost like a whisper, but it didn't sound human. He froze. Whatever it was real and it was close. But the scariest part happened when they decided it was time to leave. The kitchen, which had been empty when they first arrived, now had all the cabinets wide open. As they watched, the stove door creaked shut on its own with a loud slam. That's when Eric felt this cold breeze brush past him, like something or someone had just walked right by.
I heard a voice. I just heard an actual voice in here. Can you speak? Do you have a voice? Can you speak? Do you have a voice?
They both knew it was time to go. With their hearts pounding, they apologized to whatever might have been there, whether it was something alive or something from the past, and they didn't look back. As they left the house, the strange handprints, the knocks and the whispers stayed with them. They couldn't help but wonder, had the house trapped more than just memories? Had it captured something far darker? Either way, they promised each other they'd never come near that place again. 2 years ago, a chilling mystery unfolded in Wadesboro, North Carolina, when a skeleton was found deep in the woods behind the Wadesboro Armory. It was the remains of a woman, but not much else was clear. She had a few pieces of clothing left on her, like a black bra and what looked like leggings, but they were in bad shape from the weather, so they couldn't provide much useful information. What really got people talking was a strange discovery that came months earlier. In August 2021, some trail camera photos surfaced, and they were unsettling. The photos showed a woman walking alone at night, wearing only a bra and some really dirty leggings. She looked hurried in the first set of shots, almost like she was running from something. But in the last ones, she seemed to be limping, using a cane. That detail left the investigators scratching their heads. Was this woman somehow connected to the skeleton? If so, how? What had happened to her? Then things got even stranger. In early 2022, a group of hunters made another bizarre find in the same spot. A backpack. They admitted they took some money from it before calling the police, but by the time authorities arrived, the backpack had mysteriously vanished. What happened to it? Why was it gone? The whole thing felt off, and it only added to the mystery. Around the same time, a website that tracks missing people seemed to make some connections. One of the names they brought up was April Michelle Reed, but after comparing dental records, they ruled her out. Then there was Amber Ray Johnston, who had gone missing while on a trip to Myrtle Beach. Her phone's last signal pinged near Charlotte, not too far from Wadesboro. Could she have been the woman in those photos? Was this her final location? As of today, the DNA from the remains is still being analyzed, but so far nothing has been confirmed. The mystery just keeps growing, and the families of these missing women are still waiting for any kind of closure. No one knows what happened to that woman or if she's connected to the others who vanished in the area. But those photos, those eerie trail cam shots, keep haunting everyone who hears about the case, leaving it unsolved and just as puzzling as the day it was first discovered. There's this YouTuber, Max, who's all about nature, camping, and wildlife. His channel, Max Hunts, is filled with incredible footage of him exploring the wild, setting up camp in remote places, and just soaking in the beauty of nature. He's been doing this for over 2 years now, sharing his experiences with a growing audience. But there's one night, February 4th, 2024, that's got everyone talking. Something happened that night that totally threw him and his friends for a loop. It was a cold evening out in the Arizona desert, a place that's as vast as it is quiet. Max and his buddies had decided to do a camping trip, and even though it was chilly, everything seemed pretty normal. The sun had just dipped below the horizon, and as the night settled in, they got their tents set up, a campfire going, and huddled around it for warmth. The usual sounds of laughter and casual chatter filled the air as they settled in for what they thought would be another peaceful night under the stars. But what came next was anything but ordinary. At first, no one really paid much attention to it. It was one of those things that kind of makes you think, nah, that can't be real. But it didn't take long for the group to realize something was definitely off. There, in the sky above them, was this strange object just floating silently, moving slowly across the dark canvas of the night. Now, whether it was in the atmosphere or up beyond it, no one could really tell, but it had this soft, eerie glow about it. It was like a tiny little beacon in the vast emptiness, glowing faintly against the twinkling stars. Max and his friends just stood there, staring up at it, completely dumbfounded.
That was amazing. What a day. Dude, oh my gosh, what is that? Oh no, I'm actually dead serious. Look at that. What is that? Dude.
What in the world?
What is that?
UFO.
Wait, should I get the... Can you see it on the light? How do I video
Wait,
that?
what the heck?
Dude. They're dropping chemtrails.
Dude, you could see it. You could see on the camera.
Are you filming?
What is that? Guys, come look at this. What in the world? Look at it. It shows super well.
Keep filming, Cal.
What is that?
Dude.
What is that? Is it coming towards us? That's creepy. We're here on the Mexican border, hunting deer, and we have spotted a UFO.
It wasn't like anything they had ever seen before. Not a plane, not a satellite, not anything that could be easily explained. It was something else, something unidentifiable. Everyone was silent, just watching, trying to make sense of what they were witnessing. But there was no real explanation. It wasn't like they could pull out their phones and Google it. This was something that didn't fit into any known category. And just as quickly as it appeared, the thing vanished.
This is kinda crazy. Oh my goodness.
Dude, we'll know it's some
That's
kind
crazy.
Of like, crazy flyby.
Yeah, what is that, do you think? Is it just a spaceship? Like, oh my goodness, that's so crazy. It literally started way over there, and now it's traveled all the way over here.
Look at that.
It's crashing.
It just disappeared.
Oh! No way! You literally disappeared!
Dude!
What? Dude, I'm
That's crazy.
freaking out.
That's crazy.
I'm freaking out.
Dude, that's crazy.
Dude, I'm freaking out.
One moment, it was right there in the sky, commanding their full attention. And the next, it just disappeared into the night like it had never even been there. The whole group stood there in stunned silence. There was this weird mix of excitement and apprehension in the air, a feeling like they had just witnessed something truly inexplicable. No one spoke for a few moments. What could they say? What they had just seen didn't make any sense. Max, being the pro that he is, had his camera rolling the whole time. He managed to capture the entire event on video, which was pretty incredible. But here's the thing, despite having the footage, no one could make heads or tails of it. The object, whatever it was, remains a mystery. The footage didn't answer any questions. In fact, it just added more to the pile. It left everyone with even more questions than before, and the thing itself still doesn't fit into anything we can explain. The sky, with all its stars and unexplained phenomena, is still full of mysteries that challenge our understanding. No one knows what Max and his crew saw that night, but it's definitely one of those things that sticks with you. Even though they don't have the answers, the whole experience left them wondering if maybe, just maybe, the truth is out there waiting to be discovered one day. Bonus, mysterious being. A group of friends was out in the forest, just wandering around, when they stumbled upon something that froze them in their tracks. High up in a tree, there was a young girl. Except she wasn't just sitting there. She was screaming, but not like you'd expect. Her screams were wild and she was thrashing around in a way that didn't make any sense. Her movements were jerky and unnatural, almost like she wasn't even in control of them. The whole thing was captured on camera, and it's unsettling as hell. You can see her twisting and screaming, her voice bouncing off the trees, sending chills down your spine.
Hey! Wah, ada beres nang ini dah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
The first thing that hits you is, how the hell did she get up there? I mean, it's not like she's just sitting on a branch. She's freaking out, moving around in ways that seem impossible. Everyone's left with questions. What's going on? Why is she up there? And why is she acting so strange? Was she in some kind of distress? Was she under the influence of something dark? Or even worse, is this some kind of supernatural event that no one can explain? Whatever it was, it's the kind of thing that sticks with you. And now no one can stop wondering what really happened out there in that forest. And for more chills, get ready for this next video.